from Kern Government Television. Welcome to this week's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting. Originating from the County Administrative Center, located at 1115 Truxton Avenue in Bakersfield, California. Grounded in ideas, energy, and innovation, Kern County's vision is to be a driving force for the world's fifth largest economy. And our mission is to exceed expectations of the communities we serve, changing the way they feel about government, those who manage it, and the services it provides. Today's Kern County Board of Supervisors meeting will convene momentarily.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning session of the regular meeting of the Board of Supervisors. Today is August 20th, 2024. First item is roll call.
Supervisor Peters. Supervisor Flores.
Here.
Supervisor Couch.
Here.
Supervisor Perez.
Here.
Thank you. The next item is the salute to the flag. At the conclusion of that, I'd like you to remain standing for a moment of prayer, silence, or meditation, whichever you prefer. This morning is going to be led by Tony Toon, who was born and raised in Bakersfield and graduated from Foothill High in 2002. He attended college at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo from 2002 to 2005, and then joined the Army in 2005 as a cavalry scout. He served on active duty until 2009, then joined the Army Reserves as a military policeman until 2013. His primary duty station was Fort Riley, where he served in the famous Big Red 1 and deployed under their patch of OIF 07-08. Mr. Toon currently attends Bakersfield College with a major in ag business and his three wonderful children, Olivia, 9, Lucia, 5, and Andres, 2. He also has worked for Kern County since 2016, previously with the Recorder's Office, and he is now serving his veteran community with the Kern County Veterans Service Department. Tony, welcome. Please lead us in the flag salute, and thank you for your service.
Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
Thank you, Tony. Thank you. The next item is the consent agenda. All items listed with a CA or a C. Oh, I'm sorry. I almost missed our favorite item, which is the pet of the week. Nick, I apologize. Come on out here. Hang on. Let me apologize to you for a second. Okay. Go ahead. Sorry about that. What's her name? His name?
Good morning, Chairman Couch, members of the board. You don't have to apologize to me. Yes, apologize to Wendy.
I owe her.
Wendy is our pet of the week for the Kern County Board of Supervisors. She is about a 2-year-old mixed breed. She's a small dog. She's only about 15 pounds. She's not going to get much bigger than she is right now. She's available for adoption right now, and her adoption fees are waived, as all of our adoption fees are waived until September 10th to celebrate Clear the Shelters. So come out and adopt a pet.
How old is she?
She's about 2 years old. We have a taker in the audience. She's about 2 years old.
So seriously, if you want the dog, what do they do?
You can come down, well, come and see me, or come to the Kern County Animal Shelter at 3951 Fruitvale Avenue today between 10 and 4, and Wendy will be there waiting for you.
Now, you can meet somebody back there in the rotunda. We had a taker in the audience here a second ago. Thank you for doing that, Nick.
Yes,
we
sir.
appreciate your work.
Thank you.
See you, Wendy. Let's find Wendy at Forever Home. Okay, sorry about that. Now on to the consent calendar. All items listed with a CA or C above the item number considered to be routine and non-controversial by county staff. We can act on those all in one vote. I'm going to tell you what those are, and then I'm going to give you a chance if you want to ask a question or make a comment about any of those. It starts on page 2. consists of items 2, 5 through 7. On to page 3, all the items 10 through 16. Page 4, items 17 through 23. Page 5, all the items 25 through 33. Page 6, items 34 through 40. Page 7, items 41 and 42. Item 44. Item 45 has been withdrawn by the department and will not be heard today. Also on the consent calendar on page 7 is item 46. On page 6, all the items 48 through 55. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment about any of those items or ask a question about any of those items? Seeing none, I'll return it to the board for a motion.
A motion on consent.
Please cast your votes.
So, second?
We have a second now. Now you can cast your votes.
Thank you. The motion is approved, 3 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Peters.
Thank you. That takes us back to the top of page 2 under resolutions and proclamations. Item 1 is a resolution honoring Deputy Probation Officer 2, Virginia Ramirez, Kern County Probation Department, upon her retirement with 26 years of dedicated service to the County of Kern. It will be presented by Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chair. Motion on resolution.
Second.
Please
Thank
cast your votes.
you.
The motion is approved, 3 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Peters.
Hello there. Good to see you guys. Good morning. Very nice.
She's the young-looking one.
Oh, my gosh. Congratulations. Thank you. Good to see you. Come on over, please, so you can be famous on the television. Hi, good to see you. Good to see you. All right. You look too young to retire. Well, good morning, Chair, and members of the board, staff, and members of the public. It is always, in my opinion, an incredible privilege, honor, and a sacred space that we share up here as we recount the contributions, a lifetime of contributions by Ms. Ramirez. Ask you to bear with me. This is a lot of information, but it is so precious and so telling of the individual who is here before you today to be honored. Virginia S. Ramirez began her career with Kern County Probation in September of 1997 as an extra help deputy probation officer in adult supervision. She later transitioned to the Department of Human Services as an extra help social worker before returning to probation in June 1999 as a permanent deputy probation officer, where she was once again assigned to adult supervision. In this role, Officer Ramirez honed her supervision and counseling abilities, promoting the redirection and rehabilitation of adult offenders. And Officer Ramirez's caseload, which at times surpassed 200 cases, Bill,
That's a long time ago.
consisted mainly of those involved with gangs in which she displayed strong verbal communication skills in both English and Spanish and an impressive work ethic. In 2002, Officer Ramirez transferred to adult investigations, where she managed the drug diversion caseload. Later completed pre-sentence reports before becoming a dedicated court hearing officer for the misdemeanor revocation calendar. This is my favorite part, where she was noted by court personnel as always being prepared and fair. Prepared and fair. Those are the fundamentals. In 2005, Officer Ramirez transferred to juvenile supervision, where she was assigned to the Pride Academy and later Blanton Academy, where she used her strong communication skills to work within a collaborative setting of school and mental health personnel to help justice-involved youth find structure and opportunity for success. During this time, Officer Ramirez often volunteered to work weekends and evenings, as they all know, demonstrating a high degree of integrity and drive with a strong ability to lead. In 2010, Officer Ramirez returned to adult supervision, where she was first assigned to the challenging residential treatment caseload, working with those afflicted with serious addiction issues, and then assigned to an officer-linked caseload of 800 people. All of this while appearing in court as a court hearing officer. You remember those days. In 2020, Officer Ramirez was transferred back to adult investigations, first as a court hearing officer in the criminal calendar and then as a dedicated pre-sentence report writer, where her vast experience in court made her transition seamless, or it looked seamless. Officer Ramirez was known as reliable, displaying the highest degree of professionalism as a respected role model with the highest degree of integrity. On August 23, 2024, Probation Officer Virginia Ramirez retires after 26 years of dedicated service to Kern County. Families, her commitment to public safety has earned her the respect and admiration of her peers and colleagues, and she is wished the absolute best in her future endeavors. Therefore, be it resolved that the Board of Supervisors of the County of Kern, State of California, does hereby honor and commend Virginia S. Ramirez, also known as Officer Ramirez. We have our probation director who's going to say a few words, and then I'll have an opportunity to close us out. What a special day and special moment. Bill, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Supervisor Perez. And good morning, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. It's always difficult to adequately sum up over a quarter century of service in a resolution or a speech. Officer Ramirez has shown a great deal of versatility in her career, as you heard, through making transitions between adult and juvenile divisions and various field, court, and school-based units. You know, she was able to get up to speed quickly during each assignment transition, and this is largely due to her intelligence, her work ethic, organization, and good old-fashioned desire to do good and take pride in her work. She was always quick to build rapport with those on her caseloads, collaborative agency staff, where she worked with school staff, court staff, attorneys, and other law enforcement agencies in her various roles. She was equally quick to build relationships with her coworkers and was often referred to as a role model, a team player, and a floor leader who was eager to take initiative. In one of her evaluations, her supervisor wrote she had, quote, "no problem challenging conventional wisdom," end quote. And that's supervisor speak, for she was never afraid to point out a dumb idea. And so, no problem challenging conventional wisdom. Yes, very good. And what a great skill to have for our agency, for sure. And so I'll close my comments with a quote from another one of her evaluations. And it says, "Virginia, I have known you for over 20 years now, and you have not changed one bit. Hardworking, competent, and a team player. What more can a supervisor ask for?" End quote. So to that I say amen. And Virginia, I wish you a long, healthy, and happy retirement. Congratulations.
Excellent. Anybody else can speak?
You might.
Would you like to say a few words? Please do. Officer Ramirez.
Good morning, and thank you. It is truly an honor to be here in front of everyone and accepting this resolution. And when I hear all that's been said about my career, I'm truly honored, but at the same time, I am in awe, because in the back of my head, I'm thinking, wow, did I do all of that? But I do take great pride in my career. I want to thank my family, who's always been extremely supportive of me. And we've been waiting for this day for a while. And everybody says, gosh, you're so young to retire. However, this couldn't be a better gift for my 50th birthday, which is tomorrow. And
Happy birthday.
that was always my goal when we got the contract, that we could retire at 3% at 50, and I just happened to be one of the lucky ones. And I started my countdown about 10 years ago. I happened to be in court. As a court hearing officer, I remember starting my countdown when I turned 40. And I thought, wow, 10 more years. And I just can't believe that the day is here. I can't believe that the day is here. I'm extremely excited for what my new venture is. I have a young daughter, Emily, who's here with me, who just started high school, and so I'll be busy with her and spending time with my boys. My son Evan, my son Christian, who just started his career. I ended mine, and he just started his on the 29th here at downtown at the hospital as a registered nurse. And he's watching, so this is also for you. My Evan, who's also in school, and I'm just looking forward to spending time with my family, my husband, Santiago, my dad, who couldn't be here this morning because he had a little hiccup last night, but he's here with me. I know he is. And my friends, a dear friend of mine, Alma Chavez, who's here, who's been with me since day one, and my beloved neighbors, who are now here with me too, and a dear friend, Lily, we've been friends for a while, and we've gone through this journey together. And so I dedicate this to everyone that I've worked with, to the amazing department that we work for just the amazing support, the amazing just mentorship that I've received throughout the years with our department, with the Superior Court, and with just everyone that I've worked with. I'm truly grateful. And I'm happy to end my career at the time that I'm ending it. I'm still young, and I look forward to my next phase, although I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. So, so I'm just excited. I'm thankful, extremely blessed. Bill, I'm sorry that I couldn't stay longer with you. I've known Bill for many, many years. His father-in-law, Robert Osorio, was one of my first partners when I first started here. And I owe a lot of my knowledge also to him, and that's how I got to know Bill. And it's just really a lot of great memories, and I will totally, take those with me. So thank you.
Beautiful. Thank you. Congratulations.
You're very welcome. We see less and less of people with your kind of devotion to public service, truth be told. It's sort of generational, cultural. It's just real changes. And so these are special moments. And I tell you, the clerk and her team go through painstaking work to put, your life and accomplishments professionally here, contributions to Kern County, and this beautiful resolution. We want to present that to you today. What is not said here is the changes that you have been part of in the probation department with, that have come down from Sacramento, that have been broad, that have been quick, and that you've lived through and didn't run when many people did, through what have been big changes, the closure of DJJ as well, as you know. So we want to thank you, present this resolution to you on behalf of Kern County that is so grateful for your service. And it's really wonderful to see that you have your priorities in order, and that you clearly have a fulfilled life. And I have every confidence that your next chapter will be just truly marvelous. So God bless you. Thank you for your contributions to the children, families of Kern County. They are meaningful. They last in eternity, as you know, and they have your name all over them. So thank you. God bless. Thank you. Morning, huh? This is recorded too for your dad. You can show it. Thank you. Thank you. We'll see you guys. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you. Congratulations. Item 3 proclaims September 2024 as Service Clubs Month in Kern County, and item 4 proclaims September 24 as Recovery Month in Kern County, and both of those proclamations will be presented by Supervisor Flores.
Thank you, Chairman. I'd like to make a motion on both items 3 and 4. And at this time, will anyone, I see Jim Damian, Fernando Aguirre, Juan Louis, Maravec, oh no, is it Ms. Diaz? How are you? I need my glasses. District Governor Sim, anyone from our local service clubs, please join me at the podium in front.
Need a second? I'll second. Please cast your votes.
Second.
The motion is approved. Excuse me, 3 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Peters.
And correction, that is Miss Christine Diaz with Senator Shannon Grove's office in Bakersfield East Rotary. Forgive my bad eyesight. Okay, so today it gives me great pleasure to recognize some of the other champions of Kern County. We often think of the best of Kern County in energy and agriculture, aerospace, logistics, tourism, all of our strengths. But the de facto champion that parallels those great sectors is truly our nonprofit and service sector. These guys and gals roll up their sleeves. They're committed to so many worthy causes that touch all of our districts, and we're so proud of you. A little bit about Rotary District 5240. It compromises 68 Rotary clubs and 3,000 members in 4 counties, including San Luis, Santa Barbara, and Ventura, and our own. Couple of the touch points. These people are focusing on education, literacy, child health, disease prevention. They've done tremendous work throughout the years on valley fever, water, sanitation, economic development, protecting our environment. And it just gives me, and East Rotary has done such great work on the panorama bluffs, on beautification. And I just want to say thank you. And so on behalf of our Board of Supervisors and our Chairman, David Couch, I'd like to present the month of September as Service Clubs Month in Kern County, and recognition has been entered in the official board minutes, signed this day by our chairman, August 20th, and I'd like to present this to Governor. So, congratulations, and if you want to say a few words.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Good morning, Chairman, Supervisors, Rotarians, and friends. My name is Sherry Sim. I'm serving as the District Governor for Rotary District 5240. Really happy to be here and such an honor to receive this proclamation from your county. This proclamation simply solidifies all the good works that Rotary does. As Supervisor Flores has mentioned, we have about 3,000 members in 68 clubs across 4 counties. Obviously, Kern County, Santa Barbara, Ventura, and San Luis Obispo County. With this proclamation this September, our district will be focusing on 2 key projects. The local Rotary clubs and potentially other local service groups will be collecting essentials, clothing, food, and deliver to the mission at Kern County. District-wide activities are in place to celebrate and commemorate International Peace Day that takes place on September 21st. Just the 6 Rotary clubs together have built the tallest ever 17-foot high peace pole, and that has already been installed in the city garden area at the Mill Creek Lena Park. I understand Mayor Go and City Councilman Brett Barnes, both of whom are active Rotarians, will be speaking there on September 21st. We are also doing a peace baton relay, passing from member to member among our 68 clubs to increase awareness, and that will accumulate in Santa Barbara also to commemorate September 21st. You'll be happy to know there are 12 Rotary districts in California. Together with those Rotarians, our 5240 Rotarians will be carrying out service projects in Rotary, the international 7 areas of focus. We will be advocating basic education and literacy, maternal health and child health, water sanitation and hygiene, disease prevention and treatment, community and economic development, peace and conflict prevention and resolution, and supporting the environment. Again, supervisors, we appreciate your endorsement. We will collaborate with other service groups to join us in this endeavor. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
My second proclamation, I'd like to call up Allison Burrows and any staff from our Kern Behavioral Health to come and join me for this proclamation. Morning, Allison. Okay, so second one, today we're going to request that our board also proclaim September 2024 as Recovery Month in Kern County. The theme this year is every person, every family, every community. Recovery Month celebrates the gains made by those in recovery, reinforcing the message that behavioral health is essential to overall health. Prevention works, treatment is effective, and people can recover. Over the past year, the Behavioral Health Department has served 7,300 individuals in the treatment system with nearly 5,400 new admissions. And I remember just in May, the County of Kern was able to kick off and celebrate 2 new psychiatric facilities, one for adults, one for children, to position our county for the tremendous challenges that we face and the legislation that's coming down the pike from Sacramento. We will be ready. Addiction is one of the toughest plagues of our time. Again, it affects our physical health, our mental health, our spiritual health, but we remain undaunted, and we have the staff and the resources and the mission and the commitment to treat those people with 21st century services and the best in the psychiatric field. And speaking of the best, I'm so proud of Allison Burrows and our team, and we unanimously selected her as our new mental health director. She has hit the ground running. She's experienced, and nothing is too small, nothing is too big, everything in between. I've worked with her behind the scenes into the minutia of mental health or contracts or services or helping people. She does the job 24/7. I just want to commend you. So with that being said, on behalf of our Board of Supervisors and our chairman, Supervisor David Couch, this is to proclaim September 24th as Recovery Month in Kern County, dated this day, August 20th. Congratulations, and thank you for all that you do.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores. Good morning, Chairman Couch, members of the board. I am Allison Burrows, your Behavioral Health Director, and really pleased to be up here today to speak to you about National Recovery Month in September. This is actually the 35th anniversary of National Recovery Month and another wonderful opportunity for us to celebrate stories of recovery and remind ourselves that people do recover from substance use disorders, and they go on to live amazing, wonderful, healing, and rewarding lives. So our theme this year is every person, every family, and every community. And that speaks to both the impacts of substance use disorders for us all, but also all of the work that it takes to support somebody through their recovery journey. And we're fortunate enough to have some of our providers here today in the audience. Now, we've done something special this year. We actually have a short video for you highlighting some really inspirational stories of recovery locally here in our community. And after the video, Anna Olvera, our substance use disorder administrator, will be speaking to you about some of the events we have planned for the month. Thanks.
The thing that led me to drugs and alcohol in the beginning was just a need to let go of control and be somebody that I wasn't. It just turned into a coping mechanism, and it was just like a kind of like a life or death situation.
Both of my parents were addicts, and that led me to using drugs. I did my whole 20s in and out of prison.
From the age of 14, I began a horrible addiction of intravenous methamphetamine for 15 years, which led from that into a very horrible heroin addiction. And ultimately at the end, it was about 5 years of horrible fentanyl use. What the addiction did to me was stole everything from my family, my children's relationships with me, the ability to live inside of a home. I was under the belief that I was going to die this way.
No matter how rough their substance use disorder is, there is always hope. Our job is to make sure that that hope lives and that people know that when they come to us, we will have that hope for them.
Losing my children and then becoming pregnant with another child is the reason why I decided to accept the fact that I was an alcoholic and I was in need of help and treatment.
I ended up getting pregnant. I was living in a trailer in back of my mom and dad's house. So I decided then I didn't want my daughter to have the same issues I did. So that's when I decided I wanted a better life for me and my family.
I was homeless for 10 years, and the last couple of years there living inside of a dumpster enclosure. You know, when you feel like a discarded piece of garbage that no one wants to be around, and someone reaches their hand out to you, it's amazing. Well, this young lady from Kern Behavioral made me feel like I was important, started directing me to places like Aegis and my outpatient counseling. She ended up becoming what I call my dream team. There's a set of 5 ladies. They are the reason why that I'm sitting here right now. Without them, I know for a fact that I would not be here. Being able to pass the first drug test was such a milestone to me. I can do this again. I can make another one. And it started just moving forward, and I was like, I think I can do this. I have been sober for 10 months. I have a relationship with my children now, with my mother and father, who would have nothing to do with me before.
For some people, when some time passes, we see that they are a completely different person 6 months in, a year into their recovery. We know that with all this hard work, people can and do recover.
When I realized the hopelessness that I felt and the gift that had been given to me, this urge came into me to want to spread that light that was given to me. So I asked the people that were my counselors how I would go about doing this. They directed me to be able to start Cal State to get my addiction counseling certificate. And I am super, super excited to be able to be someone that can help spread hope to the people out there that have none. I get to go be a light to others around me. There's nothing greater than watching the organic thing of recovery happen in someone's life.
I am Shaniqua. I've been sober for 163 days, and I am sober because I will not let anything define me or my future. The only thing that defines me is God.
I am Amanda, and I have been sober 6 months. I got sober because I wanted a better life for my daughter.
My name is David. I have been clean and sober for 10 months. With the help of my dream team, La Vida Nueva, Aegis, and Kern Behavioral Health and Recovery.
Good morning, Chairman, members of the board. I would just like to thank David and Shaniqua, who are here today with us. We know that we thank them for their willingness to come forward and share their story of recovery, because this is why we do what we do. We know that those stories are built from hard work, determination, perseverance, and support from others. Their stories are only 3 of them, the ones that we see in our community and in our work every day. As was mentioned before, over the past year, our network of providers serve almost 7,300 people throughout the year, with hundreds of people coming into treatment every single month. Recovery Month also recognizes the staff, providers, and all the support people who help our clients make these steps to enrich their journeys. We have several of those joining us here today, so I'd like to ask for them to stand to be recognized. Thank you. I'm also here to tell you a little bit about some of the events that some community partners and organizations and our department are including in our calendar to celebrate September. The first one is the uplighting of your county administrative building in purple, the color of Recovery Month. That's going to happen from September 12th through the 30th. We also have the Drug-Free Youth Summit on September 21st at Bakersfield College. This is where students and teachers get together to plan out Red Ribbon Week to prevent young people from using drugs and alcohol. We also have the Mothers Against Drunk Driving Walk Like Mad at the Park at Riverwalk on September 21st. And finally, we're closing out the month with the return of our Recovery Resource Fair at Mill Creek Park on September 28th. We'd love to see you all out there. And for any of these events and treatment resources, our website has information for everybody at kernbhrs.org. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Chair, can I say something?
Yes, thank you. Supervisor, I was just waiting till they finish. Supervisor Perez.
Thank you so much, Chair. Jeff Flores, thank you for that presentation. That was remarkable. And I have to say, I think that may be the best video I've ever seen in these chambers, and I really mean that. Who directed the video? Did we do that in-house?
Some assistants in-house, but we did work with Beacon Studios.
I'm sorry, who?
Beacon Studios.
Okay, that was so exceptional and so well done and so authentic. I'm really just kind of in awe at what is presented in the video. So many people just don't believe that people want to change. I mean, it's a cold culture, and for good reason, as you know. So what I saw there and what I felt there, is just, I'm actually struggling to define it with words, frankly. It was totally exceptional, totally authentic, and I'm so grateful that you guys are there. You are fabulous. Your authenticity and love shines through. I mean, wow, I'm totally blown away. Thank you. This was really, really encouraging, and I'm so happy that these folks are here. My goodness, what you are doing matters. It's really important, and we're just so happy that you took the time to be here today and give us all some inspiration about how to do this right. Thank you.
Thank you for that. Congratulations to those of you that can get through this and get your lives back on track. I think it's important for us to see it, but I think it's important for the community to see it as well, because I think many people in the community just don't know that that's possible, and that they think the work that you all do every day may not ever result in anything because they continue to see people struggle. So I think it's great that you show us, and I would encourage you to show us as often as you can. Thank you. Okay, that takes us to item 8, I believe, public presentations. This portion of the meeting is reserved for persons to address the board on any matter that is not on the agenda but is under the jurisdiction of the board. We try to keep our comments to 2 minutes. We do our best to keep our comments to 2 minutes. Welcome.
Ms. Krause. Whoever else is interested in.
Trade you.
Thanks. Oh, I thought you were going to hand that back to me. My name is Jim Robinson.
Morning.
Good morning, Board. We would like to bring to your attention a continued vulnerability to free and fair elections in California. People in Kern County are registering to vote in various ways through DMV, health insurance, government assistance programs, and more. Non-citizens are also registering to vote, and our elections office has a duty to verify citizenship status to protect our upcoming election from non-citizens returning vote-by-mail ballots. Now, here's the problem. Federal law prohibits foreign nationals from voting or registering to vote in a federal election, yet anyone can register to vote using the EAC federal form without providing documentary proof of citizenship. Federal law also imposes upon states an obligation to conduct voter list maintenance. The U.S. Election Assistance Commission, the EAC, created a federal voter registration form that does not require applicants to demonstrate proof of citizenship. Instead, it merely requires voter registrants to sign a form under penalty of perjury, swearing or affirming that I am a United States citizen. Now, the Supreme Court of the United States previously held that because of the National Voter Registration Act, it requires that states must accept and use the EAC form, which does not require documentary proof of citizenship. Then the NVRA forbids states to demand that an applicant submit additional information beyond that required by the federal form. The result is that under current law, as interpreted by the Supreme Court, anyone can register to vote using the EAC federal form without providing documentary proof of citizenship. That's the problem, and you can stand by and wait with bated breath as we come up with a solution. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Robinson.
Dennis McLean, MC, capital L-E-A-N. Morning, Chairman and board members. The solution: 2 federal statutes that have been on the books for nearly 3 decades allow states to obtain information about the citizenship or immigration status of any individual for any lawful purpose. Specifically, 8 U.S.C. Section 1373 provides that the reference to the former Immigration and Naturalization Service, abolished 23 years ago, now means the Department of Homeland Security. Obligation to respond to inquiries. The Immigration and Naturalization System shall respond to an inquiry by a federal, state, or local government agency seeking to verify any ascertain to citizenship, immigration status, or an individual with the jurisdiction of an agency for any purpose authorized by law, providing the request verification or status information. Further, 8 U.S.C. Section 1614 provides that, notwithstanding any other provision of federal, state, or local law, no state or local government entity may prohibit or in any way restrict from sending to or receiving from the Immigration and Naturalization System information regarding the immigration status, lawful or unlawful, of an alien in the United States. Each statute makes clear that states, localities can submit a request to DHS to obtain citizenship or immigration status of any individual for any purpose authorized by law. And further, not only can they request the information, but DHS shall respond to such a request, and they cannot be prohibited or restricted from receiving that information. Thank you.
Thank you. Can I pause you guys for a second? I know you gave us some material, but I don't think you're reading from the material you gave us.
Yes, we are. Well, part of that should be.
Can you provide us with what you're reading from?
Sure.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Jesse Sanders. Good morning, board.
Morning.
According to the states, and accordingly, states and localities should submit requests to the DHS to verify that citizenships or immigration status of registered voters on the voter rolls where there are any reliable indicators that the voter may not be a citizen. These tools, codified in the federal law for decades, allow you to submit requests for the information to the Department of Homeland Security about these individuals' citizenship or immigration status for any lawful purpose. That includes where they have a reason to believe that a given individual who is registered to vote may not be a U.S. citizen. American First Legal has issued a compliance letter, and it's included in your packet up there, to each state secretary of state requesting compliance and maintaining citizens on the voter rolls and a continuous maintenance of removal of non-citizens from the voter rolls.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Glenn Clayton, C-L-A-Y-T-O-N. Good morning, board.
Morning.
Chairman Couch. This letter from America First Legal is a preemptive directive for compliance prior to the potential litigation similar to Judicial Watch's letter prior to their suing the state and Kern County. Concerned citizens request the Elections Office be proactive, continue verifying and removing non-citizens from our county's voter rolls, and avoiding potential litigation. It is also pertinent to note that on July the 5th, 2024, when Judicial Watch filed their lawsuit, identified the 66,000 inactive voters, 8 years inactive, to be removed from Kern County voter rolls on July 30th, 2024. Amy Espinoza removed 77,100. She stated the 77,100 was miscalculated and was resubmitted with only 34,617 removed August 6, 2024. Now, concerned citizens have made several attempts to verify the removal stated, and we ask for the supervisors for your help to attain verification since we have not been able to do so. Plus, we ask that an explanation be given why in 1 month's time there is a discrepancy between identified inactive voters through the Secretary of State data submitted by Kern County reporting given to Judicial Watch and our county data, reconciling almost half less than this 34,617 removals / cancellations done in August 2024. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Mr. Clayton.
Good morning, Supervisors.
Morning.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. God bless America. I am
Amen.
Charles Shinn, S-H-I-N-N. I'm a retired Marine, and I am a concerned citizen. Attached, please find the California report of national change of address and dual state registration issues. This report highlights findings regarding voter registration discrepancies and provides an analysis of the data gathered. Voter registration and voter roll maintenance are a continuous daily activity. Elections are infrequent and specific to calendar events. If voter rolls are not adequately and properly maintained, downstream activities and the results, including elections, could be affected. Key findings of the report include 56,674 records flagged as having moved out of state while still having active voter status in California. 1,225 of those records are from Kern County. 75,362 active voters identified as having undeliverable mailing addresses to the NCOA. 2,809 records identified in Kern County. 208,246 voters appeared to be registered in dual state registrations. That's California and another state, with 7,812 of these having active status in California, 3,657 voters registered in Kern County and another state, with 74 having active status. That means the majority of those were inactive. 7,358 voters either cast a ballot in both states or cast a ballot in California after their change of address move date. 74 of those, again, were Kern County. The goal of this report is to bring awareness to these issues and work collaboratively towards resolving potential discrepancies in the voter rolls. We believe diligent maintenance is required. We encourage you to review the attached report and thumb drive file given to the elections official, Amy Espinoza, to verify our analysis and address any confirmed discrepancies within our voter rolls. Thank you.
Thank you.
Ron Barger. Good morning.
We'd like to remind the board of the missing security over the 19 drop boxes in Kern County. The election office was approved $30,000 on cameras to monitor the drop boxes. They are located in highly visible public areas. The cameras failed to capture the box activity. The cameras are focused away and down, making it impossible to view all activity. An issue of privacy of the vote was also raised, but we'd like to point out only the privacy of the vote is protected. Voters are in public view throughout the county in public squares while voting and under camera surveillance coming and going. Security cameras are meant to bring security, but it is impossible if they aren't turned on. If there isn't a constant surveillance by county employees, if it's not recorded for review, if it's not accessible to the citizens' observation, and if it's not on 24/7. Ms. Espinoza admitted the cameras did not ensure recording capacity. Election Code 20135 states, if feasible, drop boxes shall be monitored by video security surveillance system or an internal camera that can capture digital images and video. Clearly, our cameras aren't capturing the digital images or video. A safe and transparent election is the reason behind installing these cameras. Concerned citizens have been requesting a remedy for the past 3 elections, and we request the Board of Supervisors to inquire with the election department and the IT department as to remedy and implementation of recording cameras focused on use that captures images, monitored 24/7 by election employees, viewable on live stream for citizens during periods of ballot collections. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Barger. Why do they always make you go last?
Well, I'm not last.
Okay.
I'm not last. I'm just here. Hello, board. Good to see you all. Pamela Reese, our EECE. Well, I came to welcome the new guy, but I see no new guy, so that was just a rumor. And my question is this. With whom would I speak to or ask or suggest how to clean the railroad tracks that are right over here by us? Have you seen it? It's terrible. It's terrible. And I don't know who's in charge of it or how I would go about asking about something like that. If you have any suggestions?
You just did, but we have to contact the railroad, and that's sometimes a rodeo. But
Really?
We'll do it, yeah,
I mean, can I say something, Chair?
certainly.
I don't want to get in trouble here,
It's okay.
but
You're already in trouble.
I got
I
you.
mean,
about something.
you want to, yeah, good point. I mean, if you want, I mean,
I know there's a big liability, I bet.
you might have an easier time getting on an organ transplant list than getting the railroads to do something. And
Oh,
I
really?
and I don't mean any disrespect to them. They're just
Busy.
very powerful and very difficult to contact.
Way into after shutdown.
So it's very, very tricky because the county has limited jurisdiction, limited authority, limited power. Whereas we hear about this constantly and it's maddening.
Really?
Absolutely maddening. And it wouldn't surprise me if there are people who are camping out near them who have some sense about this. Because word travels fast and, you know, there's always loopholes. And this is largely a sort of antisocial kind of culture, if you will. And so, you know, my hope is that we engage in activities similar to what Jeff Flores is doing in his district that is oriented around tiny houses and getting people off the streets. Because we have this pipe dream that these folks are gonna get a trade and become carpenters or something. I mean, it's just not gonna happen. And we have to take seriously the limitations here and how we as a community can really, I think, barter with these folks and have a new social contract. But that's a whole subject for another conversation. Sorry, that was a lot. It's one of the things in our group that we can flesh out and talk about is how we, as a society, do more to hold the railroad companies, for example, or a bunch of private companies that don't do anything, that live out of town and just don't care about Kern County. It's one of the issues that we really need to streamline and get smart about. But I think Jeff is plugged in, and he has something to offer, or some words to offer, and I think that's really where we need to go. But I hate to give you excuses, but it's tricky with the railroad, sister. They're very powerful.
Well, maybe I'll just write him a little note and say please and thank you.
It wouldn't hurt.
I think it would be nice hearing from you.
Yes.
I mean it.
If you got a name, I'll go knock on the door.
Okay, let's do it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Supervisor Flores?
Yes.
Thank you, Ms. Reese, for coming and talking about that. That is one of my big frustrations. And a couple things. So railroads have a large degree of autonomy on their right-of-way. And so our county, we send out public response crews, rapid response crews in our jurisdictions, our county maintained roads. So we have that direct oversight and access and that ability to clean it up, which also is a full-time job and it has its own challenges. But we have less and less say in their right-of-way. But ultimately, at the end of the day, they are governed by the California Public Utilities Commission that has jurisdiction over them. So I think that that's a good place to start at the CPUC. Also, just because they are independent and autonomous, I'd like to check in with CAO and Margot Raizon, our county counsel. It doesn't give them the absolute liberty and license to not obey dumping along the railroad. So I'd like to have county counsel and CAO look into whether or not our county code enforcement could cite them the way they cite other bad actors. I don't care who they are. I don't care if they have shareholders in New York, what have you. They're not above the law. So I'd like to see if we can cite them, or a polite letter to see if they can clean up their areas, especially along these big thoroughfares and corridors. We might get less of a response in some railroad 30 miles out in the sticks, but here in Metro Bakersfield, by Rabobank, by our core city areas, it's unacceptable. It's filthy. It looks third world. I don't like it. So thank you. Secondly, another good idea would be to engage our state legislators that have good contacts with the railroads and the state CPUC specifically, our Senate delegation, our Assembly delegation. So we have to get their attention, and they don't have, they're not going to ignore us. And so I think all of us working together with our code, with our state Senate delegation, Assembly delegation, citizens like you, when I get a chance, because they do the rounds for us, they're going to need something from the county one day. And so this is going to be number one on my list. And so we just all have to work together. So thank you.
100%. You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
I don't want to get anyone in trouble or
No.
citations. So this isn't trash that's just blown in?
It could be a combination.
Okay.
Be a combination.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Doesn't matter how it got there, frankly.
Yeah.
It's unsightly.
Right.
And looking down either direction of the railroad line, it should look a lot better than it does. It'd make a beautiful picture.
Thank you.
I've taken it before.
Thank you. Morning.
Thank you, Board. My name is Tyrone Smith. My wife worked for the county for 16 years. She worked in the election department for 10 years before she was terminated. She was fired. And when she was fired, she was one of the last out of 10 years. I believe right now you guys have no experience workers that are about to come into this primary election that have not done a primary election. My wife was one of the last ones. My wife was terminated for reasons that we are currently going through the process for being heard. But right now, I guess they have delays. We have some delays going on, and we just want a fair hearing. That's all we're asking for, is a fair hearing. We came to court, or came to our hearing for 2 days, and the next day, everybody's sick and we can't get nobody on the phones. We can't get nobody to give us transcripts of the hearings. This is unacceptable. And we talk about a waste of county time. This is a waste of county time. We have a woman that's been worked for the county for over 16 years and was wrongfully terminated, and she can't even get a fair hearing.
Mr. Smith, is this a hearing in front of the
It's a
civil?
public hearing.
No.
Yes.
Is this in front of the Civil Service Commission?
Yes, sir.
And so who's your contact that you're trying to reach to get transcripts or what,
Well,
what you're asking for?
Our county her
HR?
helper, yes.
Okay.
We need our transcripts. We need stuff to prepare our case, and we can't get any information from these people. And it's unacceptable. And we talk about a waste of county money and a waste of county time. This is a total waste. My wife has been employed for over 10 years and was let go for no reason at all.
Can you leave your contact information with Ms. Martinez right over there, who's in the black jacket?
Yes,
Right on
sir.
the end? Thank you.
Be happy to. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Smith. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman Couch and the rest of the board. My name is Rose Ann Jones, Roseannjones. I want to speak to you about the county's proposal to the SEIU, specifically the administrative coordinators. They are proposed to receive an 8.5% increase. That raise has been lumped together with the other various classification salary increases. I do not agree with this. I believe the administrative coordinator classification increases should be considered separately on their own. On December 14th, 21, the administrative coordinator classification was part of the MOU agreement, Article 5, compensation, Section 7, classification and compensation, which addressed 16 classification series. All but 2 classifications, the legal secretaries and administrative coordinators, were completed and have received their raise. The last one was completed on January 10th, 23. On December 9th, 22, HR emailed the classification questionnaires to all current admin coordinators. On July 16th, 24, HR presented the final changes from all the desk audits to be effective July 27th, 24. On July 19th, 24, HR proposed an 8.5% increase to the admin coordinator classification. That increased proposal was included with the new union agreement. After 2.5+ years, this increase has been included with the new union agreement. This raise is seriously overdue, and all the other classifications have received their increase and will receive another one with the new upcoming agreement. While the union and county are in current negotiations, all the admin coordinators are losing money because their proposed raise is being tied to the new agreement. Will the admin coordinators receive back pay to the date the other classifications receive their raises? The administrative coordinators have been waiting for their raise and subsequent classification studies to be completed since the last agreement back in 2021. Therefore, I ask that you consider this raise separately from the new union agreement. Thank you.
Ms. Jones, can you leave that with Ms. Martinez over there? Thank you. Still on public presentations. If you who's here for a public comment? Come on down to the front row so we can get you to the microphone quickly. Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Joshua Pierce, like you pierce your ear. And I am with Cornerstone Center for Counseling and Discipleship in Tehachapi. And I listen to Kern BHRS say every person, every family, every community, but that's not true in our district. And we don't have a supervisor for Tehachapi at the moment. For the last year, we have attempted to work with the county. We've been able to make some inroads, but because of the minimum network adequacy requirements, people can wait up to 60 days to 90 days to be able to get treatment. On average 45. A Cornerstone or in Tehachapi, there are 11 individuals who are certified to be able to work in addiction, and 10 of them work with Cornerstone. And so my request this morning is if we could be put on the docket in the next, either at the next meeting or at the September 10th meeting, to be able to talk about either opening up and untying the hands of Kern BHRS so that we can have a contract and work with them. In our community, drugs have hit hard and home. Have hit hard, and it is our desire to see everybody made whole Our motto is everybody who walks through the door gets help, but we can only do that if we can keep the doors open. And so we've worked with Anna and her team quite a bit, but at some level their hands are tied because of what the network adequacy requirements are. I've gone through all of the state laws, but it appears that in every response, even from the county council, Kern BHRS is not held to those same insurance standards as, say, Kaiser or Blue Cross or Blue Shield. And to us, it's pertinent because people are dying. Our goal is to ensure that each client gets the care that they need first and foremost. We also have a few others here who wish to express their desire to see our community thrive as well.
Mr. Pierce, you're representing Cornerstone?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Morning.
Hello, my name is Nathaniel Harbison. I'm here on behalf of Cornerstone, representing them as well. I am a Tehachapi resident. So my roster briefly is I own 4 residential homes in the area, one of which I reside. I own 1 commercial building in the Tehachapi area. I'm not saying that to impress in any capacity. I'm saying that because 8 years ago, July 27th, I got sober with the help of foundations such as Cornerstone, AA, to which I've actually been blessed enough to open my commercial building in Tehachapi is the AA Alarm Club. So it helps people with, drug and addiction, mental, anger problems, along family members who are affected by those who are affected with drugs and alcohol. I also want to lobby to the case of it's not just a matter of helping people, right? Not just saving lives. That is impactful for sure, but it's an ROI. Right? As I just stated, I've been a productive member of society because I got sober. I've paid in the last 6 years probably $250,000 in taxes just to help the roads and infrastructure. And this is one thing, I'm not into politics whatsoever, but this is one thing I can come and stand and lobby for. Now, I am a Bakersfield native. I actually share an alma mater with Mrs. Perez. I went to Highland High School. So I'm I'm East Sider, true and true, right? But, right. So if we can be heard, and helped out and keep the doors open, it would be much appreciated. Thank you.
Sorry, could you give us your last name again?
Harbison.
How do you spell it?
H-A-R-B as in boy, I-S-O-N.
Thank you.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen.
Morning.
My name is John Logan. Bear with me. I'm on my 2nd day from my 3-day-long chemotherapy treatment. I am a survivor of more than 25 years of intravenous methamphetamine addiction and 14 years of homelessness. And my following statements are neither full personal testimony, nor are they meant to be an indictment of any person, group, or organization. Sure. Just simply a snapshot into my personal experience. I've been in recovery since March of 2023. Early on, I had to make a move from private insurance to Medi-Cal due to my inability to work. And later on, as I reached the 6-month point of the year-long program, Blue Shield of California tried to insist that I move my recovery to a facility in Bakersfield. This would have been very detrimental to my recovery. Cornerstone was instrumental in keeping me focused and in the program during this transition. As I was approaching the 1-year mark in the program, I began to be asked, then strongly suggested to, and then through many, many phone calls, I was eventually given an ultimatum. Quote, "Our medical review has determined that you no longer need treatment unless you agree to go to an in-network facility," unquote. It was around the same time that the severe medical issues I'd been having were determined to be cancer. Again, Cornerstone doubled down on their support and kept me focused on my recovery and in the program. Even in the face of the stress created by the thought of having to pay out of pocket while fighting cancer, Cornerstone's #1 stock and trade remained compassion. They stood by me and have stood by me through tragedies, struggles with housing, lack of money, and obviously severe health problems. They have gone above and beyond in making sure someone was with me while I was in the hospital many times, and have continued to ensure that I get to my many doctor appointments and my chemotherapy treatments. With all that I have faced over the past year, I've come to understand that they truly do provide everything necessary to effect lasting change. In short, they save lives where lives would otherwise be lost. Thank you for hearing.
Thank you, Mr. Logan.
Good morning.
Morning.
Thank you for hearing Cornerstone and for being here to hear this issue. My name is Margaret Willer, W-I-L-L-E-R. My first name is M-A-R-G-E-T. I wasn't planning on speaking this morning. I just came for moral support, but I feel pretty passionate about what's happening in Tehachapi. I myself have not struggled with addiction, but I have 2 sons who have, and they grew up in Tehachapi. I've been a resident there for 35 years. I work for a large nonprofit, and I am a director over a large part of the state, but I live in Tehachapi. I ran an office there for 16 years, and I can tell you that we work very closely with Cornerstone and people who are struggling with addiction and poverty. And so what Josh is doing is very much his passion, and he cares deeply for the people he serves. He does need to get payment from the county and become one of their providers, and that has been an ordeal. In Tehachapi, there's only one choice of their in-network servers, and I can tell you from my oldest son, who was struggling with addiction and trying to get treatment, that he was falling through the cracks big time, and having to come down to Bakersfield for treatment was out of the question many times. So unless he was provided transportation. And even then, it's an ordeal. If you have dealt with anybody in your own personal scopes with addiction, it's always a challenge. If there's any hurdles to overcome, it starts to become impossible. And so these hurdles that are being provided now by the county or as a result of red tape are insurmountable for a lot of these people. And so we're just asking that we would be met with fairness and that they would be deeply looked into so that they can begin to pay for the people who are in Tehachapi. This is very much needed in Tehachapi, what Cornerstone is offering. And the people there, the people who are struggling with addiction, have been falling through the cracks for many years. And so I just ask you to take a closer look. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Willer.
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Sarah Prescott, Prescott. I've struggled with alcoholism and addiction for most of my life. I hit rock bottom after rock bottom. I was broken, defeated, barely holding on to life. That is until I walked through the doors of Cornerstone. I received treatment, counseling, care, compassion, and a road to faith. The volunteer counselors and clinicians at Cornerstone had their work cut out for them. I was in withdrawal, defiant, argumentative, an all-out nightmare to deal with. But no matter what I did, what I said, or the tantrums I threw, they never gave up on me. That's when I knew I couldn't give up. I've been clean and sober for 20 months now. I drove 3 hours to be here today because it breaks my heart to see the people who have helped me change my life in every aspect struggle to help the struggling. I'm living proof that this program works, and I beg the County of Kern to to recognize the good that this program does and the lives they are saving. Keep Cornerstone open. Let them work with Drug Medi-Cal. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Prescott.
Janine Adams, also a citizen in Tehachapi. And, I'm so excited that Measure K passed and we have dollars to go towards supporting our communities in the unincorporated areas such as Tehachapi. I know that the budget is not quite finished yet. I hope that there are dollars to support this type of group because quite frankly, those of us in Tehachapi have yet to really see the impact of those dollars coming to the county. I was just at the Mountain Festival yesterday. Many people came up to me and talked to me about various different things, and I said, well, there should be money because of Measure K, and if you have concerns, you should come before this board and let them know what's going on. Of course, it's difficult right now since we don't have a representative on this board, but I wanted to speak in favor of, providing services in the Tehachapi area. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams.
Good morning. My name's John Hickman, and that's Jon-Hickman. I'm in recovery, as well as a substance abuse counselor and social work intern at Cornerstone. I stand before you to show recovery is possible and to advocate for a crucial expansion in substance abuse treatment in our area. Currently, our town is served by only one provider holding the sole contract for these essential services. While we appreciate the work that has been done, the lack of choice limits the autonomy of our clients. Just yesterday, someone came in to us seeking help, but our hands were tied. The individual has sought out assistance 3 times since last month. We directed them to the contracted provider, but they've been stuck on a waiting list, unable to receive the immediate care they need. It is imperative that when someone is ready to begin their recovery journey, they can access treatment on demand. The initial flicker of desire to change can be quickly extinguished if help is not available in a timely manner. Whenever I was getting sober, I reached out for help in Tehachapi, and nobody could see me in a timely manner. I'm blessed that I had the VA benefits and I was able to go out of the community to get care. But most people aren't that blessed. Network adequacy standards should be used as a minimum requirement, not a benchmark for the best practice. Patient-centered care is imperative for meeting clients where they are. Our community is often forced to choose between a treatment center that may not meet their needs or driving 45 to 60 miles to receive care. The reality is most people are not going to choose to travel. Another point of contention is the stark disparity between Eastern and Western Kern. There are currently 24 approved facilities for treatment in Western Kern, while Eastern Kern has only 4 approved facilities. I thought it was every person, every family, every community, but it doesn't sound like Eastern Kern is in that. This imbalance leaves our community underserved and exacerbates the challenges faced by those seeking treatment. Our clients deserve equitable access to care, regardless of which part of the county they reside in. Moreover, with our focus on holistic and client-centered care, we are committed to providing services that go beyond network adequacy standards. We aim to empower individuals to reclaim their lives through comprehensive support, addressing not only the physical aspects of addiction, but also the social, emotional, and spiritual dimensions of recovery.
Mr. Hickman? Yes. We try to keep our comments to 2 minutes. Can I ask you to bring your comments to a close?
It's done. That was the end of it. I urge the board to consider the importance of client autonomy and the benefits of having multiple providers in our area.
Thank you. We're still in public presentations.
Good morning, Board. My name is Nancy Trimbitas, Trimbitas, and I have been with Cornerstone for a short time, but have seen the important role it has and continues to play within our Tehachapi community. Our history carries an 80% success rate. As of now, all of the clients that have graduated our year-plus long intensive program have remained sober and continue to walk their sobriety journey today. My role within this organization is to make early youth behavioral intervention services accessible to this small but quickly growing enclave. The children of this community deserve to be seen and heard in a positive environment that allows them room for growth.
My fault. Sorry.
Part of Cornerstone's vision is to help all youth become emotionally healthy young adults. For this, our organization needs financial needs met through the Drug Medi-Cal program that is operated by this county. Currently, the amount of services we can provide is limited due to out-of-network status. We intend to launch this innovative program in September with an already growing wait list of anxious parents looking to support their children as they struggle to seek available care within the area. I am asking this panel today to put us on the agenda for the next board meeting in 2 weeks and to acknowledge the need for these imperative services the community is struggling to access under the current network standards. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next?
Good morning.
Morning.
My name is Jasmine Enriquez, Jasmine, Enriquez, Enriquez. I've worked with Cornerstone for over 2 years, and I'm also a recovering addict. I've lived in Tehachapi for 6 years, 3 of those years being in active addiction. When searching for local facilities to receive treatment, there were no options in our area. At this point, I was in chronic state of my disease, unable to stop on my own. The only form of treatment was the local ER, where I was treated less than human, being discharged back to my demise of hopelessness. Being discharged to the hospital was not a detox center, and to figure it out. I was begging for my life, being unheard. After several near-death experiences, I was left with no other choice but to leave my 3-year-old son with family to receive the proper help and support from another county that saved my life. When returning to Tehachapi, I made it a personal goal to reach back into the fire for my brothers and sisters suffering from the depths of this deadly disease. Just in March 22 and 23, there were 24 tragic alcohol and drug-related deaths. I would have had been 25, just another statistic. Currently, there are 22 plus facilities with 1 new opening facility. There are only 4 drug and alcohol facilities in East Kern, 3 of the 4 being the same company. While working with Cornerstone, I've been able to follow through with my promise, providing the community with an authentic, evidence-based treatment, providing a family-oriented environment, supporting each individual in their needs. Cornerstone provides a sanctuary to heal, to finally be heard. I believe addiction is secondary to the root problem, an internal void being silenced with substance. Cornerstone provides everyone with a willingness and the inner fight a fair chance for long-term recovery. We're not only fighting addiction, we are creating generational change. The future generations, my children.
Ms. Enriquez, I'm sorry. Your time has expired. Will you bring your comments to a close?
Absolutely. I'm now a recovering addict and an active member of our community. This will be a lifelong purpose, and my service will not end with Cornerstone. I just pray that we get the funding we need.
Thank you. Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Thanks, Joe.
Hello, everybody. My name is Kimberly Bessette. Do you want me to spell it?
Yes, please.
Bessette. And I'm coming just to give my voice and my name to backing Cornerstone as well. I'm also a resident of Tehachapi, and I've been going to Cornerstone for some time. My story is much the same as many others. I'm a former addict. and I got down to a very, very low place. And for me, my Savior was Jesus Christ. And in Cornerstone, they are evidence-based, and they're professionals, counselors, and yet they support my need to follow my Savior, and they allow me to put him first, and they support that. And I feel that he is the way out, and that Cornerstone needs to be funded fully so that others like myself can loudly and proudly proclaim him as our leader and be supported in our march out of addiction. That we can try to take steps, but for me, it's all a stumble until I let him pick me up and carry me. And the people at Cornerstone support me in that and allow me to celebrate that part of recovery. And so I'm just putting my voice and my name out here saying, please fund them. They are very, very necessary. Also, I have a personal story with just noticing in our community, in our small town, Tehachapi, that we are encountering more homeless problems,
Ms.
more
Bissett.
homeless people.
Ms. Bissett,
I'm sorry?
we try to keep our comments to 2 minutes, and you're pretty well past that.
I have a hearing loss.
I'm sorry, we try to keep the comment period to 2 minutes per person.
Oh, I'm all done.
Pretty well past that, so can just
Okay.
wrap it up if you can.
That's it.
Okay.
I'm all done. Please fund Cornerstone.
Appreciate it, thank you.
Thank you.
Public comments? On any other subject? Doesn't have to be this one. Supervisor Perez, I see you punched in.
Thank you, Chairman. First of all, to the folks in Tehachapi, I want to say thank you for your remarkably impressive, prepared, and very compelling presentation. Utterly compelling presentation. So thank you for that. I would like to ask our staff, I'm not sure who's appropriate to direct it to, what is the process by which we consider these, the constituents of an absent supervisor, but of course Kern County family? What is there a process and procedure that we can move to at least consider this request?
What I would recommend, Supervisor Perez, to the chair, is that you refer this item to our behavioral health department. I am aware that they have been working diligently with this provider. They are not a Medi-Cal provider. They are an out-of-network provider, so they do work with the county. I think they're asking to be part of in-network, and there is a process that we have to follow per state regulations. So I'll be happy to work with BHRS and bring back a response for your board.
Fantastic. That sounds like an adequate first step. I know it's slow bureaucratic talk, but that there is a process. We do have to follow it, and that sounds like a really great place to start. So do I make a referral, Elsa?
You may, but we can also bring back.
Or just
your board.
refer it?
Yeah, just
Okay,
refer.
thank you so much. We're gonna get the ball rolling. I mean, it sounds like it's been rolling to some degree, but just not the way we need it to and not as quickly. But I would like to also offer my assistance in any way to contact people I know at the state to try to expedite that process if that's helpful. But best of luck to you. I think you guys have done a really great job. I've been involved with addiction work my whole life. My father's a minister. We always had churches and we always had homes for addiction, tragedies, and it truly is God's work. I mean, these are special people who are willing to do such things because it's a lot, and of course it's worth it as we see here. So thank you. I really appreciated hearing from a fellow member of our armed services, a veteran who's come forward and given us some personal testimony that is so helpful. It helps us for context. All of us, all of our constituents we serve equally, but we have obviously a very soft spot for our servicemen, as Shin knows. So thank you. We will wait to hear back from you and keep the ball rolling. So congratulations to you, I think, on a successful presentation. Janine, it's so nice to see you. I didn't expect that. So best of luck to you.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Burrows, can I ask you a couple questions? And let me just say before I start with you, I saw Mr. Pierce shaking his head, that sort of in throwing up your hands, sort of in disgust, frustration, whatever you want to call it. But there's a lot more going on here than just some folks that support you, which is great, and there's a lot more going on here than this vendor versus that vendor in a particular area. And I know you've been to the office a couple of times when I haven't been there. I know you probably visited other offices as well. I've had conversations with our staff, our legal staff, our CAO, and I believe I've had one conversation with Ms. Burrows. I'm going to give you some free advice. It's worth every penny you're going to pay for it. You're going to have to work in this system if you're going to get in this system. There's no real way around it. Putting an item on the agenda to sort of discuss this new and fresh, I don't know that it's going to get you anywhere. So I want to ask you, give us a little background and a little, I'm now talking to you, Allison, give us a little background and a little status update on where this is. I know they've done work in the past. I know there was some issue on reimbursement, and we can turn to our CFO and acting CAO on that, but can you give us a little background and history?
Absolutely. Thank you, Chairman. Yes, so part of our state mandate is to have a network of providers in Kern County providing both substance use and mental health services. So how we secure the providers is through the county procurement process, following that fair and impartial process where we go out for requests for proposal. We were really excited a couple of years ago to have the opportunity to expand in the Tehachapi area for the drug Medi-Cal services and did issue an RFP. Unfortunately, at the time, Cornerstone did not submit a proposal for that RFP. We've heard some of the wonderful services that they provide there. However, that was the process we followed to secure a vendor. There were some delays.
Can I stop you right there? Were you just going to secure one, or is there room for others?
We typically do consider whether there's room for others.
Okay.
Yeah. So we did secure a new vendor. There were some delays with them getting up and going. And so we issued a short-term contract with Cornerstone to provide some services, give them an idea of what it takes to become a drug Medi-Cal provider. So they provided some services for a limited period of time. Through that process, at this point in time, we have a network provider. And they are considered an out-of-network provider. To maintain continuity of care, there are some rules and regulations we have to follow. So it allowed many of the patients being seen by Cornerstone to continue to receive services for a period of time as we work to transition them to an in-network provider. One of the things, through the regulations that we work through is there is not necessarily a preference. When there is just the one provider in the community, and we just did have the one provider respond to the proposal, that is our in-network provider until we issue another RFP.
And by the way, RFP is 3 little letters.
Yes.
And some people who hear it think, well, just issue another RFP. But there's a lot more to it than that. Kind of, either you or Ms. Martinez can sort of describe that process and how long it takes and what's involved.
Yeah, so I can start that. So the request for proposal process going through the county system can take anywhere from 3 to 6 months. We typically work through a cycle with our providers, either 3 to 5 year cycle with the providers. We need to issue kind of requests for interest sometimes to see if there is interest in the community for new providers, look at our network adequacy standards to ensure that we're meeting those and see where we might have issues and need to expand. The process is lengthy. It takes a lot of coordination. We have to go through the process, and I think, Elsie, you can probably speak to some of the more details of it, but it is quite a lengthy, involved process.
So what I know about it is enough to be dangerous. You have an RFP that's issued, and people or entities will respond to that RFP. Those responses are judged by a panel typically. Yes. Probably some of the people in your department would be responsible for that, if not yourself. And ultimately a recommendation will be given to you, and you would recommend something to the board. So it's not It's not, hey, I'd like to provide services, and you just say, great, we're going to let you provide services. And a lot of, when you talk about rules and regulations, these are not rules and regulations that we have come up with. These are rules and regulations that the state of California has imposed upon you to run the programs that you run, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Okay, you said something about a request for interest. I think you can dispense with that. There's obviously interest. So when do you think you'll do your next RFP?
So our provider recently was established in the community, so typically we're on a 3 to 5 year cycle. I'd have to check with staff and see when we're cycled to throw out another RFP to the community.
Okay, I'd be interested in you coming back to us with what your thoughts are on that.
Absolutely.
All right, thank you, I appreciate that.
Thank you.
I punched in, Chair.
I'm sorry, Supervisor Perez.
Thank you for the work that you do. It is so important, and I know the heart by which you do it. The bureaucratic messiness of the government process, I think, is of very little concern to the public. I think what they want to know, and what I want to know, very simply, how do we fix this problem? And I don't expect you to answer it today. This is new to me, and we're learning the details. And there are rules and there are processes. But, I think the larger question here is, how do we fix this? This is a problem. It's utterly compelling. They're missing a supervisor. That's going to be that way for several months, so at least. So, if we can just figure out how to fix the problem, I think it would be very much appreciated. And it looks like we have a really organized community of passionate people. This is hard to find. This is not phony. You can't fake it. This is real. And it is priceless, and it is the essence of a thriving society, are these kind of building blocks where our beloved family members and ourselves can get real help from real community, from people who actually care. And so thank you for the history on the RFP. That's very, very helpful. I'm looking forward to figuring out how we resolve this issue. Thank you for your time. That's all. Thanks, Chair.
Thank you. Any other public presentations this morning? Okay, that concludes item 8. Item 9 is board member announcements and reports. I have one that's kind of unfortunate. So I want to refer this letter that I received from Berry Corporation to County Council, CAO, General Services, and probably Planning. The basics of the letter is that Berry feels the need to cancel a lease, or terminate a lease. They own the land, we lease the property for what's called Derby Acres Park, very small community on the west side. Why do they feel the need to do that? Because of the setback requirements in the oil and gas industry that have come down from the state. So here's an example of probably an unintended consequence. I don't think the state meant to get rid of any parks, but that's exactly what's going to happen, unfortunately, to the community of Derby Acres, which is, if Derby Acres has anything, they have Derby Acres Park and very little else. So it's unfortunate, but I want to refer that to those 4 departments, and you can come back with a report or an update when it's convenient for you. Thank you. By the way, they want to terminate it by the end of this calendar year. Okay. Thank you. Seeing no other board member announcements reports, we'll go to item 24. Under the Auditor, Controller, County Clerk, it is a presentation on Kern County 2024 elections. Start with you, Ms. Espinoza. Good morning.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. I'm here today to provide Kern County voters with an update on the 2024 election cycle to further the effort of transparency into Kern County elections. Here's a list of the investments made to elections this past fiscal year, and I would like to briefly point out a few items. First, we implemented the use of a second sorter, which helps in the timely processing of vote-by-mail ballots and will surely help us get through the upcoming November general presidential election. We also installed an audio-visual system at our warehouse to enhance our poll worker experience during training. We've increased accessibility for observers by building out our signature checking process and live streaming our vote-by-mail and ballot counting rooms. We have added 6 new signature checking stations, and we will be adding 6 more in preparation for the upcoming November election. We added 4 positions to enhance the administration and operation of the Elections Division, as well as increase education and outreach to the community, which includes a monthly newsletter that is available to anyone who visits our website at kernvote.com and signs up for it. We have also enhanced our security at our warehouse to allow for staging and testing of election equipment at that site, which results in freed up space in our vote-by-mail room in the weeks leading up to each election, considering we begin processing ballots as soon as voters start returning them to our office. While there is still more to be done, these investments have made a significant positive difference in my department's ability to serve Kern County voters, and just in time too. When my staff and I left for winter recess on December 22nd, 2023, we knew we would hit the ground running come January 2024 as we entered into this busy presidential election year. We had no idea that the new year would bring us more than one special election. On January 8th, Governor Newsom declared a special election to fill the unexpected vacancy in the 20th Congressional District. The special primary election to fill this vacancy was scheduled for March 19th, which was exactly 2 weeks after the presidential primary on March 5th. And the special general election to determine who would finally fill the seat was set for May 21st. This special election affected approximately half of all Kern County voters. In addition, a 3rd special election was held on July 30th in the city of California City. And we have a Kern County Employees Retirement Association election scheduled for September 17th. These last 2 are on a much smaller scale than the 20th Congressional District and the county-wide primary and general election. But this is all before getting to the big one, the presidential primary, the presidential general on November 5th, 2024. In order to put the upcoming November election in context, here's a graph showing the actual voter turnout for the presidential primary and 2 special elections for the 20th Congressional District that we've successfully completed this year already. Almost 30% for the presidential primary, 27% for the special primary, and just under 20% for the special general for the 20th Congressional District. These are nowhere near what we are expecting in the upcoming November election. As you can see, we are anticipating a 70 to 80% turnout in November, which is based on the November 2020 turnout of around 73%. This next slide represents the resources needed for each election in the 2024 election cycle. Notice that the March primary election and the November general election are nearly identical, except for the number of poll workers, which I will discuss later in my presentation. Again, I want to mention that the figures used to estimate the November presidential election are based on the turnout and results of the November 2020 presidential election. I would also like to call your attention to the 2 special primary elections in the center. They covered approximately half of all registered Kern County voters and required approximately half the resources as a county-wide election. As we head toward November, I have put together some very rough estimates on what we may experience in this next presidential election. The number of estimated registered voters is the number we reported on our most recent report of registration to the Secretary of State in July. I anticipate this number to grow as campaigns and local groups start pushing registration drives the closer we get to November. In November 2020, we had a record-breaking turnout of 73%. If we have a turnout of 70 to 80%, That would equate to between 312,000 and 356,000 votes cast. Considering that 86...
Can I ask you a question about that?
Sure.
What is typical turnout in a presidential primary or general? Isn't that far, far higher than normal?
The 73%, yes,
Yes.
definitely, in the 60s.
The 60s is usually where?
Before. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Considering that 86% of all votes cast in 2020 were vote by mail, and if we estimate the same for November, this means that anywhere between 268,000 and 306,000 will go through our vote by mail process. Precincts and poll sites are based on the March 5th election, and we will not have those final numbers until consolidation is complete later this week. However, I do not anticipate those changing much, as we really try to keep our poll sites in a primary and a general election the same, so as not to confuse voters. So if we do have to add, it might be a few if we do have more precincts, but I don't anticipate a huge change. We are also adding poll workers to each site to help reduce last-minute assignments having to be made due to no-shows on Election Day morning. As I mentioned, we will be adding poll site staffing on Election Day, and we will increase the number of field representatives sent out on Election Day. Our poll worker training is being enhanced to incorporate more hands-on experiences for our participants. Additionally, I am requesting an all-hands-on-deck approach to staffing with county managers and employees. We are fortunate here in Kern County that so many of our county staff participate in serving our voters on Election Day. I want to encourage all staff who have worked in previous elections to volunteer again in November. I also just want to pause to say really quickly that how much my office, I personally appreciate the support from our county family to recognize that elections in Kern County, it's not just a duty of my office, but so many of our county family step up to the plate each election to help run a successful election. The Elections Office continues its commitment to process improvement. We have implemented Assembly Bill 626, which allows a voter to cast their vote by mail ballot at a poll site without using their vote by mail envelope. The process requires the voter to sign in at the poll site in order to capture their vote history, then allows them to use the ballot they brought with them instead of being issued a poll place ballot. We are also enhancing curbside voting processes for our voters with accessibility needs and continuing to streamline our vote by mail and ballot counting processes. For our on-site observers, we are increasing the number of signature verification stations in preparation of the anticipated vote by mail envelopes that we will have to confirm signatures for before we're able to open those and count those. A few other items I would like to share is that we canceled 34,617 inactive voters who were eligible to be removed from the voter roll, and I want to remind our voters that inactive voters are not sent ballots during an election. We also added a 20th official ballot drop box in South Bakersfield at the Ben Austin Senior Center. I'm also considering an Adopt a Poll program for county departments to encourage teams that already work well together to volunteer to work a precinct table or an entire poll site together. The last item I will cover before turning the presentation over to my Public Information Officer, Adam Clark, to discuss outreach and education is live streaming ballot drop box cameras. After careful consideration, I have decided against this. As the elected registrar of voters, I believe this is an issue of voter privacy. As the elected auditor controller, I believe the astronomical cost of a system to do this is not an efficient way to spend taxpayer dollars. In year one, the cost is estimated at almost $600,000, then $236,000 per year thereafter. If I add drop boxes, the cost will only rise. Furthermore, Kern County is a traditional polling place county, but the state has been moving to vote centers, and if Kern is required to transition, there is a very good chance that the locations of our current drop boxes may not be their final placement under a vote center model, which will only increase the cost to move the infrastructure. Instead, we will keep our current system in place and continue to make it available to on-site observers during our operating office hours. I do want to mention, there was a gentleman who got up to say that we don't have cameras or they're not pointing toward the ballot drop boxes. That's the first I heard of that. I know that we are checking those along with ITS who assists us. And if there are any issues, we are correcting those as soon as possible so that we have eyes on those drop boxes. And those are only on and available the day that ballots go out is when we turn them on. And then election day or soon thereafter is when they are turned off. So they're only on while people are submitting their ballots. Now I will turn this over to Adam Clark to discuss our outreach and education efforts.
Good morning, Chairman and members of the board. If we haven't had the pleasure of meeting, my name is Adam Clark. I was born and raised in Bakersfield, and I went to Liberty High School. And the 3 years before I came to the Elections Division, I was working in Washington, D.C. in human rights. And for the last 9 months, I've been working with Amy in the Elections Division, which has been one of the greatest honors of my professional career. So thank you. Today, I'm going to speak to the Elections Division's efforts to equip Kern County with the resources to make informed decisions come Election Day. In January, we relaunched kernvote.com, which I'll show on the screen. We actively are updating the website as necessary. If you have not visited kernvote.com, when you first visit the site, you'll have the opportunity to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Our monthly newsletter is sent out each month with updates that are relevant to Kern County. Here's an example you can see before you. We have community events that we are attending, important filing periods, registration information, poll worker information, student election worker information, and important updates. If you visited kernvote.com and did not sign up for the elections newsletter, the box will not appear. So we recommend creating a new incognito or in private window to have that pop back up to sign up. And you can choose for that to be in English or Spanish. There are general outreach opportunities to engage Kern County with the Elections Division through public speaking engagements. Organizations and groups are welcome to reach out to the Elections Division to request Amy, myself, or members of our team to visit and speak about the electoral process and provide support with voter registration, such as assisted living facilities, navigation centers, and schools. Another way for people to learn more about the Elections Division and the electoral process is through our social media platforms. You can find links to our Instagram, Facebook, and X, formerly known as Twitter, on our website. And in response to local concerns regarding national and local elections, we have added an elections integrity page on our website addressing misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. And just to give some specific context to those three definitions, misinformation is false, but not created or shared with the intention of causing harm. Disinformation is false and deliberately created to mislead, harm, or manipulate a person, group, organization, or country. And malinformation is based on fact, but used out of context to mislead, harm, or manipulate. So I'll show you a quick preview of the new page added to the website as of today. You go to elections, under elections integrity, you'll find our webpage. You'll have information about our voting system safeguards, official ballot drop boxes, vote by mail security, ballot tracking, ensuring accurate vote counts, ballot counting and recounting, provisional ballot counting, preventing duplicate registration and double voting, voter identification, and rumors and facts, which will send you to a link by the Secretary of the State with specific realities, facts, and rumors. How can you help? By regularly checking and update your voter registration, sign up for election updates on kernvote.com. You can serve as a poll worker, visit the Kern County Elections Division to observe the electoral process, or report any misinformation or suspicious activity to the Secretary of State's office, or complete a voter fraud and complaint form here, which you'll see quickly here. This is a fillable form that you can complete any conspiracies, any discrepancies, or any fears. Together, we can ensure that every vote in Kern County is counted and accurately, securely. And any and all outreach requests can be made by email to theelections@kerncounty.com. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Clark.
So this concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Okay, any questions from the board before we open it up? Comments? Seeing none, public comment on this item by anyone?
Good morning, board.
Morning.
Hello, Amy. Some of us are still waiting to get the feedback on the 54,000 folks that we found on the month of February, I believe, and about 18 days later, 54,000 roughly were removed. We had an explanation that that was an old program. I would like to know how an old program can interact with our voter registration numbers. The other is we haven't had any feedback on what happened on March 19th with the poll book fiasco, where for half a day, folks that wanted to vote in person were unable to because their precincts were scattered around Kern County, but not the proper locations where they were actually showing up. So they were unable to vote for approximately half a day. Thank you.
Thank you.
I have a question. Can you or your office verify citizenship when people register to vote? Yes or no?
Let's direct those questions to us and
Well, the question's been asked and there's been no really solid answer, just a bunch of hoopla, so I would appreciate an answer.
I'm gonna take it that question is directed to us, and then when all the public comment is completed, then I'm gonna turn to Ms. Espinoza. Thank you.
Janine Adams, Tehachapi. I just wanted to thank Amy for all the work that she's been doing in this area. I think that this election integrity page is outstanding, and the ability for citizens to report suspected fraud so that it can be immediately brought up to your department and things dealt with immediately. So much better to do this up front. And my husband is a poll worker consistently, and he said the last two elections have been very smooth. And anyway, I just wanted to bring that to the board's attention. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Adams. Any other comments? Okay, let me go back to you, Ms. Espinoza, and can you respond to the questions about the 54,000? As I recall, they were removed and they were put back on before you ever, this is back in March, and then discuss the poll book problem that occurred on the 19th.
Sure. So the 54,000, as I mentioned, that was not removing 54,000 from our election management system, which is our system that we manage our registrations on. It was in the report that was being pushed out to the website, but it was not a deletion of 54,000 voters and then an addition to 54,000 voters.
So it was only the website that showed that, and then the website was fixed. Basically, just that those numbers appeared on the website, but not in the actual system.
Correct.
Is that right?
So
Okay.
there was, I'm not sure if it was a report that was run behind the scenes and it was updating with the website. We've moved away from that report to help cut out any maybe user error. And so what we're doing is taking a report directly from our system and putting that out in a PDF form out on the website.
Okay. How about the poll book?
So the e-poll books, there was an issue on March 19th where there were some discrepancies as our poll sites were opening. We jumped on that right away. We had a contingency plan in place. We send paper rosters out to every single precinct. In the event there's an issue with the e-poll books, voters can still vote. I have not heard in my office, or it hasn't made it to me, that that voters were turned away for half a day. We actually had a lot of voters who were signing in on the rosters. Now, there were some people that I heard that chose to leave and not exercise their right to vote at that time, but that was their decision. That was not being turned away from the poll sites.
I actually spoke to the employee in your office that I think is responsible for working with the, I'm not sure the name of the company, the vendor that handles the e-poll books, and he seemed to be pretty knowledgeable and was on it. I didn't speak to him that day. I spoke to him, a month or two after the fact when this issue was raised. Mr. McLean's question about citizenship and checking, how is that done or not done, or what's the procedure for you? So, as someone mentioned, the procedures to register to vote, or the requirements, are for an applicant or whoever's registering to fill out a form and then sign under penalty of perjury. In the elections office, we follow all state and federal requirements of our office as we are processing voter registrations here in Kern County. So if the state process is, here's the form, you fill it out, and you sign it under penalty of perjury, and they don't provide any proof, but the federal, as I understand it, the federal requirement is to provide that, they're in conflict, right, to some degree? The state rules and the federal rules? Do I have that wrong?
I don't have that in front of me, so I don't want to speak on it right now. Chairman Couch.
That's the way I understand it. Let me just say it that way. And so, any other questions from board members?
I have comments.
Sure.
Are we done with
No, I have a referral I want to make when all the comments are complete.
I'd like to mention one thing, though. There is a requirement in a federal election. The first time someone votes, they are required by law to show some type of identification. So that occurs
Driver's
at
license,
that time. A driver's license,
passport,
correct.
whatever. Okay.
Thank you, Chairman Couch. And I just want to say thank you to Ms. Espinoza, and thank you, Adam. I appreciate the informative update and the constant updates throughout the year. I think they make a big difference for us. I'd like to thank our Board of Supervisors for the strategic investments that we made last year. See this coming to fruition in a positive way, the technology, the security, safety enhancements, new equipment, new staffing, all that will pay dividends. And lastly, no other county in California has had 6 back-to-back elections in a condensed time frame. So you have done a lot, and you've done it well. No department is perfect. I'm about organizational improvement. It's a mantra. I see this improvement coming along. So I just wanted to say thank you. And, we might have a 7th election. If the assembly race for Vince Fong's seat, if it turns out a certain way, we might have a special in March. So you've done a lot, and so I just want to say thank you. And this federal immigration thing, that's a failure of federal government for non-enforcement, for not handling our borders properly. I don't know how we clean that up here. That should be cleaned up in Washington. But keep doing the good work. Keep serving our citizens, our poll workers, our staff, our employees. These are the very families and people of Kern County, our friends and neighbors. And we do our absolute best to serve the citizens of Kern County. And I just wanted to say thank you to all of them, because our elections work, and our elections work well. They've changed over time with new policies coming out of Sacramento. We've gone from same-day voting to 30 days voting in advance with a plethora of vote by mail. It has fundamentally changed the count. It's fundamentally changed the timing. And so the old expectations of first day, same day, that's passé. Do I want same day? Absolutely. Do I want it done safely? Absolutely. But we are in a new environment, and that new environment takes time. And so I ask for the public's patience, and this is the new reality. As a candidate, I had to wait 30 days. I waited to the bitter end. So it is what it is in California. Do other states do it better? Absolutely. Are we in other states? Absolutely not. So kudos to you, and keep up the good work, and I look forward to future updates. Your department has my support, and if you think that you need more resources or different ways of doing things, let us know.
Thank you, Supervisor Flores.
Supervisor Perez.
Thank you, Chair. Again, thank you. I want to thank the members of the public who are continuing to help the public and this board understand some of the substantive ways in which, the public has lost or is losing confidence in elections. I think it's a serious problem. I do not think it's Amy's fault. I don't think it's my fault, per se. But we are responsible for the feeling our people have about our government. We are responsible for that. And we should be responsive when our people organize and tell us they have a problem with the way in which our government is perceived on one level or another. So I'm excited about what this tension brings. I'm excited about the new leadership there. I really appreciated your introductory remarks. Those are excellent. And I hope that, through this process, that we do not personalize the conversation as we improve the service to the community and more importantly, improve the perception of the way the government responds to its people. And so I just want to say I appreciate you, and I want to ask you not to take things personally. I'll try very hard not to do that as well as we move forward and explore the ways in which we can improve our systems and we can improve the hope and the hearts and minds as it relates to the belief in the way in which we conduct free and fair elections. So really, a sincere thank you to all the parties involved that are making this happen. I appreciated Jeff's remarks about the number of elections. I hadn't realized that or hadn't put that together. And so thank you for that, Jeff, and for the support that this body gives to our elections team. And I look forward to growing our own relationships, but most importantly, improving the system, making it, we should have the best system in California. There isn't any reason why we shouldn't. But thank you, and I look forward to moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. By the way, I got a chance to sit and talk with Mr. Clark the other day, and so I appreciate your time and you spent with me. I don't want you to take, Ms. Espinosa, I don't want you to take the fact that I'm making this referral as a reflection on the job you're doing. It's not. It's an effort to address concerns that are brought before us basically every time we meet. Nothing wrong with that. So I'd like to refer, and remind me, Ms. Kathy, is it the Finance and Administration or Finance and Personnel Committee, the name of it?
The standing committee is
Yes.
the Finance and Administration.
Finance and
Standing
Administration.
Committee.
So that committee consists of Supervisor Perez and myself after the action we just took this morning. So I'd like to refer, and it's just a broad look at the elections process all the way from registration through what happens on election day and beyond, and the counting of the ballots and all of that. And what I hope comes from that is some maybe some recommendations that our board may make, and they might not all be to your office. Some of them may be to the state of California, to the Secretary of State. In fact, I believe that many of them are going to be directed towards the Secretary of State, who's in charge of elections. And you might see a couple. We definitely want you to be in attendance or your designee, and it'll be open to the public. So if Ms. Martinez or somebody in your office would like to be there as well. I don't know what time these meetings are going to be. I don't know what day of the week they're going to be yet. We don't utilize these committees very often, but we will notice them. They'll be subject to the Brown Act, so they'll be noticed. There'll be an agenda. The public's invited. We probably won't have them on television. I'm not going to go that far, but and they'll probably take an hour, maybe a little longer. And we'll try to get through some of these issues and make some recommendations. So in order to do that, I'm making a motion that we refer that to the Finance and Administration Committee, and I need a second on that.
Second.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Ms. Perez?
I was going to second Jeff Beaton.
Sorry.
No problem. But this is very exciting. And in particular, I want to say, Shin, that you got Couch and I to co-chair a committee willingly on your behalf. I'm telling you, you're doing something very special. And you're very special. So, I want to say thank you for that. We don't always agree. We're not always going to agree. I think we'll probably rarely agree, which is my experience with most human beings. And it's not a basis for me to do anything at all or change anything at all. I think what we need to do is fix our problems. And we do that with highly engaged, active, passionate citizenry, and of course the public servants who serve at your request and in full awareness that when we're not, that you'll toss us. And I think that's a pretty good system of accountability. It's not perfect, and we know that, but there is that tension and ability to work together in a way that is collaborative, to your point, and of course helps our elections division and the team that are around them to, really earn trust with the public as something so fundamental to the American spirit. So thank you so much, Amy. Thank you. I'm excited about your mentee there. He seems like a quality guy. Thank you.
So we have a motion and a second. Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved. 3 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Peters.
Okay, the recommendation here was just your presentation. You do not need any motion to receive and file.
No.
Okay. It takes us to item 43.
Supervisor Couch, Chairman, may I just make one final
Certainly,
comment, please? I just want to assure all of our voters that while we do have a newer staff, they've been through multiple elections. This year is definitely, thrown them in the fire, constantly looking at improvements to our process. There are only maybe 2 people who've actually seen who saw a November 2020 election. So while we don't have the experience of necessarily the experience of that level of processing, I can guarantee you that my staff is ready, they are dedicated, and we will conduct another successful election here in Kern County.
They have the experience of this year, which very few people have ever had, right?
Yes.
Thank you very much. Thank you both. Okay, that takes us to item 43, which is under the County Council, and it is to conduct the Truth Act Community Forum in accordance with Government Code Section 7283.1D regarding local law enforcement agencies' interaction with United States Immigration and Customs Enforcement in the year 2023. Before we get there, however, I want to introduce our interpreter, Fernando Lopez, who is available for anyone in the audience requiring translation of the proceedings from English to Spanish. Mr. Lopez, can you please come down to the podium so we can determine if your services are needed? Good morning.
Buenos días. Antes de comenzar, me quiero presentar. Yo me llamo Fernando López, soy un intérprete. Estoy disponible para cualquier persona que requiera un intérprete para este procedimiento del inglés al español. Y también, si quieren dirigirse a los supervisores, en el micrófono también estoy disponible. Gracias.
By the way, he is also available to interpret from Spanish to English for us as well.
Y también estoy aquí para interpretar de español e inglés para los supervisores.
Thank you, Fernando. Okay. Ms. Rezon, do you start this off? Thank you.
Good morning. At this time, I'd like to turn this agenda item over to Chief Deputy Katie Rivera, who will introduce the matter.
Good morning, Chairman Couch, members of the board. This item is being brought before your board this morning so a community forum may occur. Specifically, the California Transparent Review of Unjust Transfers and Hold Act, also known as the Truth Act, and contained in the California Government Code, mandates that the governing body of any county in which a local law enforcement agency has provided Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, or ICE, access to an individual during the last year conduct at least one community forum during the following year. Your board is such a governing body. Government Code Section 7283.1 states the purpose of the forum is to provide information to the public about ICE's access to individuals and to receive and consider public comment. Your board's meeting today is the place and time selected for the community forum to provide information about the year 2023 to the public and to receive and consider public comment. The required notice of today's forum has been provided. Specifically, the notice of hearing was posted on the county's website on July 19, 2024. This posting was timely and satisfies the 30-day notice requirements of Government Code Section 7283, subsection A. Fernando Lopez is present today to provide Spanish-English, English-Spanish interpretation for any Spanish speakers. Kern County Probation Chief William Dickinson is present and has a brief statement. Following Chief Dickinson's statement, Chief Deputy Cindy Cisneros of the Kern County Sheriff's Office will make a presentation, accompanied by a PowerPoint presentation, which will provide information about ICE's access to individuals during 2023. After Chief Deputy Cisneros concludes, Oliver Ma with the ACLU has asked to make a statement. Following Mr. Ma, it would be appropriate to hear public comment. It is therefore recommended your board conduct the forum, including receiving and considering public comment. Thank you.
Thank you. Chief, welcome.
Good morning again, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. As you all know, probation operates 3 youth facilities and supervises adults and youth on probation and post-release status in the community. Review of records for this reporting period indicate 1 inquiry into personal information of an adult. We responded to this inquiry by indicating we could not provide the information requested pursuant to Code Section 7284.6, which prohibits it. And that concludes my report. I'm here for questions, and I'll remain throughout the course of this forum in case there's any questions from the public.
Thank you, Chief. Morning.
Good morning, Chairman Couch, members of the board. Thank you for inviting us to speak to you today. As you are aware, as Katie said, Government Code 7283.1 subsection D calls for a forum to provide information to the public about ICE's access to individuals and to receive and consider public comment. To that end, I would like to take a few moments to provide some data and information regarding ICE access to inmates during 2023. It is important to note that I will only be discussing matters related to the Kern County Sheriff's Office operations, as the sheriff does not direct or have authority over the operations of federal, state, or other local law enforcement agencies. Before I get into specifics, I would like to reiterate some points that have been mentioned in past forums regarding what the Sheriff's Office does and does not do in relation to immigration enforcement. First, the Sheriff's Office does not hold inmates past their date of release or delay their release. The Sheriff's Office does not ask individuals about their immigration status or provide ICE with access to our databases. We are not involved in the enforcement of immigration law, deportations, or immigration sweeps. With that said, the Sheriff's Office does cooperate with ICE as allowed by law, including making release notifications to ICE regarding eligible inmates only when requested and only when they have qualifying convictions. As part of this process, we notify inmates when ICE has requested notification of their release. We also notify inmates of their rights regarding release notifications and interview requests. I'll be discussing these processes and notifications in a bit more detail later in this presentation. Before I discuss some of the processes related to SB 54 and the Truth Act, I'd like to briefly mention the Trust Act. This 2014 legislation prohibited agencies from holding inmates for ICE once their local charges were resolved unless certain charges applied. At that time, the Sheriff's Office ended the practice of holding inmates for ICE past their release date, regardless of the charges. This remains the case today. Releases are not delayed for ICE. Now I'd like to move on and talk about some of our processes that relate to the Truth Act, or AB 2792. and California Values Act SB 54. These processes are outlined in Sheriff's Office Detention Bureau Policy C-2300, which is accessible on our public website. First, I'll be talking about the requirements for release notifications and transfers to ICE from the jails, which are outlined by the Values Act, or SB 54. After that, I'll discuss requests by ICE to interview inmates, which are covered under the Truth Act. In terms of notification release requests, the process starts when an ICE agent fills out a request form for a specific inmate. Our staff reviews the inmate's criminal history to determine if he or she meets the criteria laid out by SB 54, which is mostly based on prior convictions, but it can be based on current charges. If staff determines the inmate is eligible, the file is flagged for notification upon release. If not, the form is archived. An inmate for whom notification is authorized is notified using a form which we have available in the various languages. The form also gives the inmate an opportunity to let us know who they wish us to contact when we notify ICE, which is another requirement of the Truth Act. The inmate is provided a copy of the completed form. When an inmate is due to be released and meets the criteria for ICE notification, that notification happens when the release process starts. The time it takes to process a release can vary greatly depending on what is happening in the jail and how many releases need to be processed. However, the release is not intentionally delayed. If ICE is present once the inmate is released, they can take custody of the inmate. If not, the inmate is released without delay. In 2023, 26,265 individuals were booked into the Sheriff's Office jails. ICE submitted 5 requests for notification of release. This represents approximately 0.02% of all bookings. Of those 5, only 1 was transferred to ICE from the Kern County Sheriff's Office. I should note the request was actually made in 2022, but the transfer occurred in 2023. This chart provides an illustration of the data comparing 2022, shown by the light gray bars, with 2023 in orange. As you can see, the number of notification requests and the number of transfers remained the same. The second chart is another way to look at the same data. In 2022, on the left, about 0.02% of the inmates for whom notifications were requested ended up being transferred to ICE. On the right, in 2023, about 0.02% were transferred to ICE as well. Before we move on to discuss interview requests, I'd like to provide you with some basic demographic information we put together. As you can see from the slide, 5 individuals were Hispanic, 5 were male, the average age was 33, and the median amount of time spent in our custody was about 193 days. However, 1 inmate was reported in 2022 and kept in custody through 2023 for a total of 259 days. When the Kern County Sheriff's Office reports to DOJ, it can appear we transfer more inmates than what we report during our annual forum because DOJ requires us to report by qualifying charge and not by individual. This means that some individuals may have multiple qualifying charges. However, this year the numbers match since we only had 1 transfer who only had 1 qualifying conviction. Per DOJ instructions, we must indicate the number of transfers to immigration authorities by the offense code that allowed for the transfer. This is a summary county by offense and not by individual records. The rules surrounding interview requests by ICE are governed by the Truth Act. When ICE wants to interview an inmate, the inmate is notified by way of a form which explains the reason for the interview and that it is voluntary. This form is available in various languages. The form gives the inmate 3 choices. They could decline to be interviewed, agree to be interviewed with their attorney present, or agree to be interviewed without their attorney. Regardless of their choice, the inmate signs the form and is given a copy. The original form remains in their file. If the inmate refuses to sign, that is taken as a refusal to be interviewed. Our data indicates that ICE did not request any inmates to be interviewed in 2023. The following slides explain qualifying conviction and provide examples of those charges. Inmates convicted of a serious felony or have been convicted of a felony that was punishable by prison must fall within 15 years and within the last 5 years for misdemeanor conviction. Also, those who must register as sex offenders qualify. Inmates who are recently arrested for a qualifying charge but have not been convicted are eligible if they are taken before a magistrate and probable cause for the charge is determined. These qualifying charges are defined under Government Code 7282.5 subsection B. These are a few convictions that qualify under Government Code 7282.5 subsection A. You may also find the list on the California legislative website. As we mentioned before, KCSO does not place any hold for immigration authorities. Inmates who have a release of notification form are released without delay if the ICE agent is not present. If the ICE agent is present, they can arrest once the inmate's release is processed. KCSO policy strictly prohibits any kind of hold for immigration authorities or agents and does not permit any staff member to accept a hold request. Before I close, I'd like to make some clarifications about some items that were mentioned in the past forums. First, the Sheriff's Office is not involved in arrests ICE makes in the community. Whatever activities ICE may initiate locally are done without our involvement. Second, ICE does not have access to Sheriff's Office databases, and we do not provide them with offices in our jails. So in closing, I'd like to extend our thanks to the ACLU for their cooperation with the Sheriff's Office staff to discuss these matters. Their collaboration has proven helpful in refining Sheriff's Office procedures. The Sheriff's Office continues to review its operations and policies related to the Truth Act and SB 54 to ensure any involvement with federal immigration authorities is carried out within the relevant law. With that said, I would like to thank the board for inviting us to speak on this matter. This concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you for your report. Now, Mr. Ma with the ACLU. Welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My name is Oliver. I am an attorney at the ACLU of Southern California, based right here in Bakersfield. And I'm here with also a coalition of other immigrant rights advocates and organizations called the Rapid Response Network. And we wanted to just provide some more information and supplement a little bit of the great presentation that the Sheriff's Office has just given you guys. So first, I'd like to draw our attention to some of the values behind these laws. And these are taken strictly from the text of the legislation. So SB 54 is meant to build a relationship of trust between California's immigrant community and the state and local agencies is central to the public safety of the people of California. That trust is threatened when state and local agencies are entangled with federal immigration enforcement to the detriment of the safety and well-being of all Californians. And from the Truth Act, the act is meant to address the lack of transparency and accountability by ensuring that all ICE deportation programs that depend on entanglement with local law enforcement agencies are subject to meaningful public oversight. The Sheriff's Office and the Board of Supervisors are already taking a great step in this by holding this forum and taking this obligation seriously. And later in the presentation, I'll talk about some other suggestions we have on how to build on the values behind these laws. Also, the policies that the Sheriff's Office has just went through will remind the community is also up for public comment. Over the past year, we've worked closely with the Sheriff's Office to go over some of their policies and give them suggestions, two of which are listed here they've very graciously taken. The first is we've revised the language so that it uses qualifying conviction instead of qualifying charge throughout KCSO's policies, because the law requires a conviction and not just a charge. We've also revised the language to clarify that the sheriffs will not use probable cause to detain an individual for the purpose of an ICE detainer. Instead, the policy is the Sheriff's Office can detain someone when they have probable cause to believe that a state law has been violated. So these are two of the policy changes that have occurred over the past year, and we ask the public to continue making comments and suggestions, and for the Sheriff's Office and the county to take those into account. Now here's some of the data from 2024. First, we see the number of detainer requests that the Sheriff's Office has gotten from ICE, and overall, as you can see, the trend is going down. Now, detainer requests are a little ambiguous what they mean, and I actually didn't really know what they mean, so we checked in with the Sheriff's Office and they explained to us. These are when ICE faxes over a notification about an inmate that ICE believes can potentially be detained. But the Sheriff's Office actually doesn't do anything else with that request. They just put it away. So and as you can see, the sheer number is also decreasing. As they already mentioned in their presentation, the number of interview requests. So these are requests that ICE puts in to talk to folks who are in sheriff custody. The number of interview requests from April 2023 to May 2024 was 0. And some more data here. I think this is very helpful to illustrate the impact this has on individual people and how they move through the process. So if you look here over the last 12 months from 2023, there was a total of 7 requests from ICE to be notified when these people are released from KCSO custody. And KCSO will then go through these cases and identify whether they have qualifying convictions. For two of those requests, there was no qualifying convictions. For 5 of them, there was. Then the Sheriff's Office will notice the detainee of the agency's intent to comply with this request and actually notify ICE when they are released. And these people they signed to say that they've been given notice, and there's the date that they signed this. And then when they actually are released, you'll see under release date, there's a bunch of dates. And out of the 5 cases where ICE put in a request, 1 was turned over to ICE custody, and 4 others were released when their time is up. What we were confused from this data is what the NA means, and we checked in with the Sheriff's Office, but are still a little confused. So would appreciate for that to be clarified, what those mean. So these are for categories like signature, for notice that ICE is notified the date that these people are released and the date that that signature occurred. To us, this isn't clear whether they were notified or not. We can actually skip that slide. And now some community asks. So as you all are well aware, this county is very heavily immigrant. 20% of Kern residents are immigrant, and 43% of children in Kern have at least one immigrant parent. More than half of people in Kern have an immigrant family members. So immigrants are 100% part of our community and part of our families. So some of the asks that we make of the county is, number 1, to shut down Golden State Annex and Mesa Verde, which are 2 immigration detention centers in Kern County. I'll tell a few stories from my work with the people in those detention centers. The first is the folks here, they are not being punished for a crime. They are simply waiting for their immigration cases to play out. But during that time, they're not allowed to leave from immigration detention. And these people, they used to get 10 free calls with their families, with their lawyers every week to stay in touch with their kids and to prepare their case, their deportation case. In July of this year, those calls were canceled. And so I'll never forget, one of the detainees told me that when the calls were canceled, they lost touch with the people who were keeping him sane in those conditions. And they actually can now pay for calls. The calls are about $5 per call. And the way they make money to make these calls are they work a full day and they get paid $1. So essentially, they have to work for five full days to make one phone call. And folks are not able to spend all that money on phone calls because the conditions, the hygiene conditions of those detention centers are horrible. It's typically 60 people who live in the same dorm with new people coming in all the time, old people moving out all the time. And so as a result, people tell us that they used to never get sick before they were in these detention centers. And now that they're in there, they get sick every single month. And so when people do save up their $1 a day from working, they're typically spending it on hygiene products like soap, shampoo, toothpaste, rather than the calls that they need to stay in touch with their attorneys and their family. We also see a ton of retaliation for the organizing that people do. There is currently a hunger strike and a labor strike within those two detention facilities, both of which are in Kern. Some people have been going without food for 20 days. And in retaliation for that, people are often put into solitary confinement so that they stop with their strikes. And the last point I'll raise on this is these are people who are part of our communities, and they really shouldn't be subject to conditions that are this horrible, where they're working for $1 a day, they can't get in touch with their family. And I hope these detention centers are fixed and are shut down.
But those aren't our detention centers.
They're not, but they operate within Kern County.
Yeah, but they're not ours, so I want to make that distinction.
They're not. Okay, you're right. And folks in the community and you all can also follow all the violations that, violation of ICE's own standards. And you can follow that on Instagram at CCI Justice. The other suggestion I'll make is to hire a Padilla council, as many counties in California has done. So there's a landmark Supreme Court decision, Padilla versus Kentucky, which requires that immigrants are adequately advised about immigration consequences before they enter into a plea for a criminal charge. Many counties in California hire an attorney specifically to take on that aspect of their legal work because our immigration system and our immigration law is very complicated. Kern County does not have a Padilla council, and so there's a history of immigrants entering into pleas without knowing what consequences might actually result because of their immigrant status. We live in a very immigrant-heavy community, and I hope you take these suggestions seriously so we can build a Kern County where immigrants are adequately advised of their rights, where people can stay in touch with their families, and where the community can look to the county in trust and not in fear. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Ma. Okay, I guess we open it up to the public now for public comment. Is that appropriate? Okay. We'll be first. How many of you would like to speak? Please come to the front row so we can get you the microphone quickly.
Good morning. My name is Rosa, and for the past several years, I've been coming to these forums. We go through the same motions. You listen to the sheriff's presentation, listen to the community and advocates' testimony, and we go on with our day. Sometimes one or two of you might ask a question or two, but no major action or decisions comes out of this. You hide behind the argument that immigration issue is a federal issue, that your hands are tied, when the fact is that standing together with and in support of our immigrant community does not benefit your political interest. We all know the long political history in Kern, and although we are making small changes, we have yet to stand up and do something to protect our immigrant community. The community that puts food on our table, takes care of our families and children, and adds to this amazing diversity of our county. GEO, correctly, is a $1 billion private corporation that continues to operate throughout our county. They run, or say they pretend to run, 3 immigration detention centers in Kern. You and other local elected representatives turn a blind eye to the abuses, exploitations, and violations that happen inside their facility. Just earlier this year, the Department of Homeland Security's Office of Inspector General conducted an investigation of GSA in McFarland and found several irregularities and violations. including lack of adequate medical care to people they detain. GSA is notorious for allowing COVID outbreak and other transmissible disease and in GSA and Mesa Verde. You know, because we've shared about this in the past forums. GEO has had to pay over $100,000 in fine for Cal OSHA violations. They are currently being sued in multiple states for exploiting people for profit, paying them $1 a day to manage their facility. I know this is not news to you. You've seen it in the media. You've heard it from us. Yet you continue to do nothing. GEO still operates in our county, and you are allowing it. What will it take for you to do something? Enough is enough. We can't just say that they're not a facility and just go on with our day. We can no longer be complicit in the abuses and neglect of and negligence of this corporation that only cares about its pockets. The community here is pleading with you to pay attention. We want you to stand for what's right and kick you out of Kern. This private corporation makes a profit by human suffering, and I know we are better than that. 2, we want you to work with us and find a way to set up an immigration defense program. It's election season, and there are misinformation, spreading fear and division in our county, and it's not acceptable. And 3, we want to move beyond what's allowed in the California Values Act and completely end in all collaboration with ICE. Thank you.
Could you give us your last name, please?
Rosa Lopez.
Thank you. Morning.
Good morning, Chair and Board. My name is Valerie Pinto, Pinto like the bean, Pinto.
Thank you.
So I'm a volunteer with the Kwesi Group, and I'm also part of the Rapid Response Network of Kern. I help with translation and also advocacy for individuals detained at the Mesa Verde Detention Center here in Bakersfield. I have yet to meet someone in that facility who came here for something outside of simply providing a better life for their family or fleeing violence and persecution from home. The high stake in immigration reform for our communities, Kern County, a case study done by USC's Center for the Study of Immigrant Integration says the following. California is the 5th largest economy in the world, and immigrants play a major role in the state's economic growth. Across the state in 2021, about 32% of all workers in the labor force were immigrants, and 38.9% of entrepreneurs were also immigrants. Money's not an issue. Yet there are 68,000 undocumented Californians in Kern County. That's 8% of residents, 10% of adults, and 11% of the workforce. More than 1 in 6 Kern kids have at least one undocumented parent. 83% of kids with an undocumented parent are citizens. That's 37,000 children, or 15% of the county's kids. Also, a 2022 report on immigrant inclusion from the California 100 Initiative showed that in 2019, undocumented immigrants were nearly twice as likely as the U.S.-born population to experience working poverty. While immigrants make significant contributions to the state's economy, valuing California's immigrants for more than their economic contributions is key in countering untrue narratives and acknowledging as well as valuing their humanity. Therefore, I strongly urge the board to advocate for Bakersfield becoming a sanctuary city. We do not need our communities criminalized, we need them protected. We can normalize this narrative with your help and your leadership. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Pinto. Who's next?
Good morning, board members. My name is Ana Huerta. That is Anahuerta. I've been here before in past years. I'm a private attorney here in Bakersfield, California. I'm a proud resident of Kern County, born and raised here, a graduate of BHS. My family is from here. I've lived here the majority of my life, and I'm proud to be an activist here. And I'm proud to serve my community members when it comes to their immigration questions and cases, as well as other things. And I'd like to remind the board that the law as it stands is merely the floor. You know, we have a responsibility and an obligation to ensure that our community members not only feel welcomed and at home, but feel safe, you know, and that the children of our community can grow up knowing that their parents are not going to be arbitrarily taken away and indefinitely held in what is effectively civil detention for administrative law violations. You know, removing detention centers from our community does not remove the fact that those who are subject to deportation charges will move through those processes. The federal government does have the capacity to perform its own job, and we do not need to take those responsibilities for them. They have the money and the resources to do that. Our job is to make our communities safe. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Huerta. Morning, Mr. Lane. How are you?
Good morning. I'm Eddie Lane. Today I'm wearing my Quasi hat. Not crazy, but Quasi. I visit Mesa Verde Detention Center. I saw that. We're all human beings. We all need to be treated as such. We ought not be treated as pawns, nor as treated as commodities. Let me relay two real stories of inhumane treatment in Kern County's 2 ICE detention centers. They're true. The names have been changed. Jose was brought to GO's Golden State Annex in McFarland on September 15th, 2023. He's 49. He's mild-mannered. He's a family man, stable, married 23 years. He's 4 children. Two he raised, 2 stepchildren, and 2 with his wife. Jose was a hard worker with a steady year-round job in agriculture for many years. His employer wants him back. His family encouraged him to get a driver's license. He only had a 2nd grade education, so he failed the test many times. Finally, he succeeded, only to then be arrested by ICE because of a 2002 dispute which he had fully understood had been resolved. Jose arrived in McFarland August of 2023 with poor oversight. This is so important. Poor oversight by GO guards. On March 15, 2024, he was beaten by another detainee with serious injuries to his face. Cameras caught the unprovoked attack. He tried to contact ICE to report the attack without success. 2 days later, on March 17, 2024, he was moved to Mesa Verde. Had ICE responded to his calls, or had he had legal representation, the attack could have made him eligible for what is called a U visa. GO and ICE both failed him. Manuel, another case, was in Mesa Verde for over a year. While detained, he accidentally broke his ankle. For 3 days, he was given Tylenol by GO's medical staff before his ankle was finally x-rayed. These are only 2 stories. Supervisors Couch and Perez, we need your eyes meeting the eyes of the detainees. My request is that you, Supervisor Couch, visit a detainee in McFarland with Jeannie or Martha or one of the other volunteers. We have volunteers here today. And that you, Supervisor Perez, visit Mesa Verde with Bob or Angel or Valerie or Frank or me so you can see and hear from one human being to another what's happening 1.2 miles from where we are right now. During calendar year 2023, GO reported revenues of $2.41 billion with a B. However, every human being with a B deserves to be treated humanly. That is not what's happening now in Kern County. Thank you.
Thank you. Who's next? Sorry, Supervisor Perez, you want to speak now?
Briefly, as she's coming down. Yeah, I'm happy to go to this facility. So if you could call my office and set it up, I'd be happy to do that. So thank you for the invitation.
Morning.
Good morning. I was going to say good afternoon, but we're not quite there yet. Almost. My name is Cecilia Delgado. I'll spell my last name, Delgado. I am a resident here in Kern, and I am here to request no ICE connections with KCSO. I have participated in previous manifestations at detention centers where bad treatment was detailedly described, and which is very inhumane. Here in Kern County, there is a high percentage of Hispanic residents who are field workers and obviously lack the legal status. And this also increases the concern, and knowing the connection between ICE, it just increases fear. Please do something to avoid the mental and physical pain of the detainees and their families. Thank you.
Thank you. Any other speakers? Seeing none. Thank you for your presentation. Would you like to respond to any comments that were made?
No, we have no further comment.
Okay. Any board member comments?
No, thank
I'm sorry.
Can we in Spanish, please?
I'm sorry.
In Spanish, can I speak in Spanish?
Fernando will interpret for you.
Mi nombre es Yuridia López Arciga.
My name is Yuridia López
Sí.
Archega. Archega.
Soy organizador en la comunidad campesina para mujeres, líderes.
I am an organizer for women, farm workers, líderes campesinas.
Y todos los días veo en los campos a las mujeres campesinas con la preocupación de deportación, ya que la mayoría de ellas no tienen un estatus.
Every day out in the field, I see women farm workers with the constant worry of being deported. They do not have legal status.
Ellas trabajan arduamente para ponernos comida en la mesa,
They work very hard to put food on our tables
poniendo la atención en sus niños para que tengan una mejor educación,
while paying attention to children's education so they could have a higher education.
pero tienen mucho miedo
But they are very fearful
porque pueda haber deportaciones para ellos y más en estos tiempos de elecciones.
because they could be deported at any moment, especially now during election time.
Les pido que mantengan a nuestra comunidad, ya que la mayoría de ellas, o el 20% que acabamos de ver, no cuentan con un estatus migratorio.
I ask for you to keep them in your, 20% of them do not have legal status. Pero pide que qué?
Que las mantengan unidas.
I ask for you to keep them united.
No compartan información
Do not share their information
y permitan que la comunidad continúe.
and allow the community to continue intact.
Gracias.
Thank you.
Thank you for your comments.
Gracias por sus comentarios.
Okay, we're going to close the public hearing. Thank you all for coming today and for your comments. I don't see any other, Supervisor President, is this from before?
Just when you're ready.
Oh, we're ready. Go right ahead.
Okay, thank you, Chairman. First of all, to my Sheriff's Department, I want to say thank you from the bottom of my heart for an excellent presentation. Katie did a great job. You're a natural. I remember the first time we did this hearing, and I was remembering with Kathy Kraus just a few moments ago, a decade ago. It's shocking to think that I'm getting so old, not Kathy, but I am. And I just cannot believe it has been 10 years. But I remember that day distinctly because we had about 25 deputies lined up in the back. We had extra security in the rotunda, out in the parking lots, et cetera, because we didn't know how, Kern County was going to have this conversation and didn't know what was going to happen as a result of it and how bad or ugly it could get. And that was one of the reasons. Tensions were very high. I don't know if you guys recall this, but I do distinctly. And we've come a long way since then. And I just am so grateful to what I feel is a collaborative spirit. We have, of course, all groups, all special interests have their pillars and their opinions. And those naturally are going to be different than others. And that's okay. And we're discovering that through this process, how important it is, right, to deliver, be consistent with the ever-changing laws, and of course, to answer up to the complicated needs of the public. Which are so important. So thank you for that. I sincerely appreciate you, and I can personally say we've really come a long way. To the members of the public that are here, I'm increasingly just so moved by you that you care about these issues. They're not popular, they're not sexy. Very few people would devote time to such things. So I'm always moved by the heart of the people who come here. To talk about, the most marginalized, if you will. I was just so incredibly impressed and moved by Mr. Ma of the ACLU. Is he still here? Yeah, it's so fun to see young people passionate and engaged and using their talent and brilliance for something just so meaningful. It's just so rare, and I really appreciate it. Senior, I'd like to meet with you soon to talk about some creative ways that we can think about communicating with Gio and others in a healthy and productive way to improve the lives of the people that you care so much about. So I'd like to meet with you. If you could call my office and speak with Christian, let's get together and just explore some of that. I want to look at the hygiene issues right away. So if you could get on calendar, I'd appreciate it. You know, I really appreciated your statistics about who Kern County really is in its demographic makeup. And the only constant we know in the world is change, right? And it is happening everywhere. It is always happening. It has always been the reality of constant influx and constant change. And to see those numbers is very stark. When you look at the global economies, if you will, those that are on the cutting edge, America, for example, at the top, the world economists will agree on what is a non-political, non-controversial position, that United States economy is what it is, largely because of the influx of immigrant workers that we have. And I don't mean that as a political statement or a statement about the border. I do believe that we need, for national security purposes, a whole host of reasons, we need secure borders. I believe that. And I think most people would agree to that statement. But the reality is that the United States economy, and in particular, Kern County's economy, people in this community who have done very well, who are very close with board members up here and the political structure of Kern County, rely almost entirely on the labor of immigrants to procure their success and to continue their wealth production. And that's what you get to do in America. But in Kern County, that's borne largely by an immigrant population. That's not to say that crime is okay or that you shouldn't follow the laws. I'm not suggesting that. It's just that who we are as a community is changing. Who we are as a community is important. Who we are as a community is critical to communicate with our law enforcement partners, your politicians, your public, so that we can not harm our economic interests, not harm our families, while we procure public safety and we encourage law and order in general, as you know, is so critical. So I really appreciate you guys being here. I do see progress. I do believe that progress is being made. We can agree to disagree on that. That's fine by me. But I was here 10 years ago. I have seen this conversation evolve. My colleagues, in particular Supervisor Couch, who we've been together 12 years on this board, will remember that. It's before Jeff's time. But he probably remembers too as a staffer, those tense moments and where we are now and the spirit I feel of camaraderie and professionalism. I just cannot thank you enough because we will always have differences. We will always have tension, and how we manage it is really what's most critical in the community. So thank you for your time. I look forward to meeting with you, Mr. Mall, and looking forward to having some progress on these other issues, not exactly related to our Sheriff's Department, but certainly the nature of our community and who we strive to be, our American values that we pursue so aggressively, imperfectly, but aggressively. So thank you. I appreciate you guys.
Thank you, Supervisor. Thank you, Chair. That concludes item 43 and the Truth Act. So I'll move to item 47, which is under the Public Health Services. It is an appeal by Willie Chabane, I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, of Brothers Shop or Bros Shop, Inc., to contest a decision of the Public Health Services Department to uphold the tobacco retailer's permit suspension and administrative penalty for the sale of tobacco products to an underage decoy. Ms. Kerrigan, welcome.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman and members of the board. My name is Bryn Kerrigan, your Director of Kern County Public Health. I am joined this morning by Amy Rutledge, Assistant Director of Public Health. The item before your board this morning is an appeal contesting the department's decision to uphold the suspension of the tobacco retailer's permit for 24 days for Bros Shop, Inc., and the assessment of an administrative penalty in the amount of $500. Smoking is the #1 preventable cause of death in the United States and leads to approximately 480,000 deaths each year. Smoking significantly increases risk for the development of heart disease, stroke, and cancers, all chronic diseases that Kern County suffers from at disproportionately high rates. Nearly 9 out of every 10 adults who smoke daily try smoking by the age of 18. It is for these reasons that your board adopted a risk-based tobacco retailer's permit program. This program requires that all facilities that sell tobacco and tobacco products must obtain a health permit. With this permit, the facility receives 1 health inspection and anywhere from 1 to 3 underage tobacco purchase surveys each year. Our department employs an extra help employee who is younger than the minimum legal age to purchase tobacco products. The underage tobacco purchase survey consists of sending this individual into permitted retail tobacco facilities throughout the year and having the underage employee attempt to purchase tobacco products. If a facility sells to our underage employee, the facility is in violation of the law and Kern County Ordinance Code and is subject to penalties. Kern County Ordinance Code Section 8.60.100 establishes the penalty for violation of the tobacco retailer's permit. Pursuant to the ordinance, a facility responsible for the first violation within a 5-year period is assessed a monetary penalty of $250. The second violation within a 5-year period is a monetary penalty of $500 and a 30-day tobacco retailer's permit suspension, meaning they cannot sell tobacco or tobacco products for a 30-day period. On May 17, 2024, a clerk at Bros Shop Inc. sold tobacco products to our underage employee. This was not the first time our underage employee was successful at purchasing tobacco products in Bros Smoke Shop Inc. On March 13, 2024, a clerk also sold tobacco products to our underage employee from this same facility. In both instances, the clerk did not ask our employee how old they were or to show their identification. Mr. Shahabane also owns another tobacco retail facility called Smoke Bros. On May 17, 2024, our underage employee was not only successful with purchasing tobacco products from Bros Smoke Shop, Inc., but also at Mr. Shahabane's other tobacco retail store, Smoke Bros. On June 14, 2024, the department heard Mr. Shahabane's appeal for the second occurrence of selling tobacco products to our underage employee within a 5-year period of time for Bros Shop, Inc., excuse me. During his appeal, Mr. Shahabane indicated that his employees rotate between his stores and they are equipped with a system that reads identification and flags the clerk if the person attempting to purchase tobacco products is underage. Mr. Shahabane also indicated that he has a birth date calendar at each of his stores in an attempt to assist clerks with determining if an individual is at the legal age to purchase tobacco products. However, despite these preventative measures that Mr. Shahabane claims are in place, our underage employee was still able to purchase tobacco products multiple times. During the appeal hearing with Mr. Shahabane, he indicated that he had removed all of his tobacco and tobacco-related advertisements from his facility and already started to serve his tobacco retailer's permit suspension. The appeal hearing board took this into account in their final decision and upheld the administrative penalty assessment in the amount of $500 and the tobacco retailer's permit suspension in a reduced duration of 24 days. Mr. Shahabane has requested to appeal this decision made by the department. Considering the continued disregard for the law and Kern County Ordinance Code at Mr. Shahabane's tobacco retail facilities and the potential long-term health threat these actions pose, it is recommended that your board deny the appeal and uphold the department's decision to suspend the tobacco retailer's permit for Bros Shop Inc. for 24 days and assess a $500 administrative penalty. Mr. Chairman and members of the board, this concludes my comments at this time. It would now be appropriate to open the public hearing and receive Mr. Shahabane's testimony related to Bros Shop Inc. Thank you.
Thank you. Yes, please come forward and give us your name for the record and give us your comments.
Sure. Good morning, guys. My name is Willie Shahabane. Firstly, I want to thank Kathleen Krause for taking time out of her days and getting me this appeal date to come over here and talk to everybody here. So, what was your name again? I'm sorry.
Bryn Kerrigan.
As she was saying, I did get hit with the first location, second location. Unfortunately, they were right after each other. A few months ago, before the county started the whole permit and everything, they had a class where they taught us on what to do and how to basically function the businesses. So what they did tell me was, I forget the name of the lady, but she mentioned that if they don't show you a form of ID, if they don't have a form of ID, asking them if they're over 21 is a valid form of identification. Ever since that day, my businesses stopped really enforcing IDs, and instead, if they didn't have their ID, we would go with the saying of, are you over 21? And then whatever they answer, that's kind of like how we go about it. Later on through the line, I ended up getting in trouble for it, and the issues that I'm kind of having is that there is no proof on their end either on when the time they showed up. There isn't no pictures, there's no video evidence or anything on my end. Letters that came in the mail came in 2-3 weeks later after the incident happened. So on that end, my camera footage doesn't really it doesn't record up to a month. They usually record a week or 5 days and then deletes and records again. So I didn't have the ability to go back and see if that stuff actually happened. But I'm not going back to see, I'm taking their word for it. But then when it comes to the first appeal day that I had, she's saying that I said that I had all those security measures in place. I did not. The only thing that I had was either check ID or ask them if they're over 21, and that's how I go about it. Later on, after those incidents happened, that's where I brought in the system. I brought in the ID identification. I brought in all this other stuff to help me and all my employees to make sure that we're not using that are you over 21, and we're actually going back to the how we originally was, which is if you don't have an ID, you're not allowed to buy anything and have a good day. So that's how we started doing it now. So we didn't have any of those stuff before, because I guess that's the misunderstanding. They're saying that I've had all this stuff intact and in place, which kind of later on, I still got the tickets, even though having those, the ID checker and all that. I never had any of that, but now I do. And ever since then, I feel like I've never had any issues. They did suspend my license for 24 days at 2 locations. That's where I submitted an appeal. I'm thinking so the first time I submitted an appeal, they told me that when I went to court, they told me that because I submitted an appeal that I didn't have to take down any of the tobacco because I had an appeal date. I was supposed to wait until they give me a decision. Then after that, that's when I basically act upon it. So that's why they ended up giving me 6 days credit. So once I got that letter, the new letter for the rejection of the reason of why I went to the appeal, they told me that I have 15 days to make another appeal if I want to, go through it again. I sent an email out within the time limit. I ended up getting an email back saying I have to come in person and write a written appeal. I came in person, wrote a written appeal. I was waiting for a reply back. In that meantime, I didn't want to take the risk in both stores. So what I did was, in the store that I was able to make money with other stuff, I took down all the tobacco and, cleared out all the tobacco as they wanted me to. The other location, which is this one, which is a bro shop, I can't afford to take everything down. So as I'm waiting for an appeal date, I kept the tobacco up. Inspection came in, seeing the tobacco still up, gave me a ticket. That's where I got in contact with Kathleen to see what's going on with the appeal, why I haven't heard anything about the court date. That's where she told me they sent out a certified mail saying that I got rejected for the appeal date because I sent out the letter late. Again, Kathleen ended up giving me a call back, letting me know that the certified mail was not delivered. So they have proof of that I never received that mail that said that you guys denied my appeal date and the suspension still goes on. So that's why I'm kind of here for. I understand I did mess up and everything in the past, and I am trying to do better to kind of make sure that problem never happens again. Because I do understand the whole reason about the vape ban and the flavor ban and everything is mainly because of they target kids, and then that's kind of what I'm getting in trouble for. But I don't want to blame the city and county for advising me wrong, but it was ever since they told me that asking if you're over 21 is a valid form of identification and not necessarily asking or trying to check ID. It's kind of what you could say weakened my store security. But ever since that last court date, that's when I enforced everything and brought the security measures that I have, meaning like the date of birth thing, the Clover system that checks IDs, all that stuff that came in after the things. I didn't have any of those stuff before. I got all those stuff after the stuff happening. So that's kind of like the one thing that she was saying was I had all these measures and I still got in trouble, which is not the case. I never had anything in place. It was just check ID or ask if you're over 21. Like if they don't have their ID, then you ask if you're over 21.
Are you saying now you have some sort of a reader that reads the ID?
Yes, it's part of the Clover system. And I also have now like signs all over the store. I also have this display that shows that if you're not born on or before this date, that you're not allowed to buy tobacco. And that's been a big, huge help, at least for the workers, because you don't have to sit there and figure out the date. The date is literally showing up right in front of you. So just match it up. But the reason why I even offered to come again is because the letter that I seen said that I've had all these measures in place before I got in trouble, which is not the case. I've got all this stuff in after I got in trouble. And then I talked to the lady at the city, the county. She ended up telling me that whoever told me that asking if you're over 21 is a valid form of identification is not true at all. And that's kind of feel like I was misinformed, because during that class I asked that question at least, like I don't want to like drag it, but over 10 times, because it's like, to me it didn't make sense. Like there's no way you could just ask if you're over 21 and just tell anybody anything. But it's like if they're telling me that, if they're telling me that, and I've asked that question over and over again, I was like, you know what? I told all my workers that day, hey, if they don't have their ID, as long as you ask them if they're over 21, they're saying it's okay.
Now, who told you that that's an appropriate question?
Damn, I'm not sure about her name, but she was the lady who taught the classes. She also came for the inspection too, into the business.
Like, okay, so the lady whose name you don't have, who told you this, who was she with?
She works with the county.
County. Okay. Was she with public health?
Yeah, public health. She's the one that also comes around. I seen her again too. She was the same one that came around to check if I still had the tobacco up or not.
Okay.
Like if I go through my phone and my pictures, I could definitely find her name. I should have had all that ready, but.
Okay. But did you have that in writing that she said that?
I don't.
It was verbal.
No, it was
verbal. Okay.
To be honest.
Bryn, that's not the case, right? We don't. Asking verbally is not an acceptable form of. Is that a acceptable process?
So Supervisor Flores, through the chair, he's referring to a tobacco class that is provided by our staff before we issue a health permit, a tobacco retailer permit. There is a PowerPoint that's included in that class, and then there is a verbal presentation. And I believe the information that he's referring to is that our staff indicate that if anybody comes into your facility and attempts to purchase tobacco products, if they look under the age of 27, then they need to ask for ID. And if they don't have ID, then they need to refuse to sell to those individuals. That's the only thing I can think that he's referring to, but we do not tell them that all they have to do is ask if they are 21, and then they can make the purchase. In fact, just to sort of also talk about the incidents in question at Bros Shop Inc., the employee that went into the store on both March 13th and May 17th was not even asked how old they were, nor asked to show their ID. So even if Mr. Shahaban thought that he could just ask how old the individual was and sell tobacco products to them, they did not ask how old our employee was.
Okay, thank you. And then, okay, so I'm trying to understand the totality of the case here. So is there two infractions or four?
Supervisor Flores, through the chair, at Bros Shop Inc., there are 2 infractions, and then Mr. Shahaban also owns Smoke Bros. I want to make sure I get that name correct. Apologies. Where is it?
That's correct.
Smoke Bros Shop, and they also have 2 infractions. However, this appeal hearing is solely about Bros Shop Inc.
First two. Okay.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you.
So is there another appeal coming about the other case, the other location?
Mr. Chairman, yes, there is.
Okay, so
Okay.
I don't know if you're done. I don't want to interrupt you because I'm ready to keep going since this is in my district.
I mean, one of the main reasons I'm here is because the whole reason was I was supposed to take down a tobacco at Bro Shop, and I didn't. But that was because I submitted an appeal and never got a word back. So that's kind of like why the other store, the first store, I followed all the rules, took everything down. I already passed the time limit between when I was supposed to take everything down, and everything's back up again now. So I have no problem with that. So I kind of, like, you could say, got it over with. I just was hoping I could probably do something within the risk assessment of trying to, because I heard there's programs into where, like, you guys like sign up businesses into where they get regularly checked all the time. And I was hoping that would be something that I could probably, hopefully sign up for, and to where you guys could come and see that I'm actually back to how I used to run my business, and everything is just ID now, and that there's no asking or anything. It's just strictly.
Yeah, there's definitely no asking. Definitely
No,
asking.
also I'm saying there's no asking like, are you over 21? I'm not even taking that as like.
You can
as a-
ask, but you got to do more, I guess.
No, I'm not even gonna. It's just, hey, I just need to see your ID. I'm checking it. You're not over 21. Like, I'm not even, like, I'm not taking that as like as a form of ID anymore. Like, it's either ID or you can have a good day, go buy somewhere else, to be honest.
Can I ask a question?
What's up?
The shop where you put the card reader in, you don't have it in both, you have it in one?
No,
right?
I have it. It's like a subscription that you sign up for.
Okay, and you have it in both shops?
Yes, sir.
Well, which shop did you take everything down in?
It was the Smoke Bro store, which is the one on Newstein.
Not the one that we're.
I didn't take it out. I didn't take it down. Well, because the.
But this is not the hearing for that one.
No, I mean, the hearing for the other one, I didn't even get a date or anything on for that one. But I've already finished the suspension. The suspension was
You've already finished that one?
Yeah, I ended up
Okay,
taking
that's-
everything
that's-
down
that-
and just getting it over with over there. But the thing with this other business is.
Well, let's make sure of that. I want to make sure that is that accurate, that he's done with that suspension? I don't want him to leave with an incorrect impression.
When you submit an appeal, your proposed suspension is held in abeyance, and any penalty is held in abeyance until your appeal hearing is heard. He submitted an appeal, and his appeal was heard by the department. A decision was made that he also then appealed through the clerk. He received a notice of hearing for this shop, but is still, the notice of hearing for the second shop has not been sent to him yet and it is still pending.
So what you're saying is, in his mind, he's made the proper changes and he's not selling tobacco and hasn't since some date in the recent past. And none of those days, is what I'm hearing you say, are going to count towards his suspension. Is that right?
Mr. Chairman, that is, you guys can take that into consideration.
Okay.
We did take that into consideration when we held his appeal hearing, where he indicated that he had taken his tobacco products off the shelves and his advertisement down, which is why we reduced our proposed penalty from a 30-day suspension to a 24-day suspension, so that we can take that into consideration and give him credit for that time.
Okay, so the thing with everything is, so you're trying to tell me right now is that even at the first store, I'm still not over with the suspension yet?
I think we're dealing with.
I know this is cumbersome. I'm sorry, Supervisor Flores. Let me finish this and you go right ahead. Direct your questions to us. And then we'll try to navigate
what I'm trying to understand from her is that so the whole reason of why I'm here, from my understanding, is that I submitted an appeal. The appeal date, they told me that I sent it out too late, meaning because I sent it out too late, the suspension was still supposed to go through.
Right.
That's what that means. So then I ended up getting in contact with them, letting them know I never seen that paper to begin with. So the reason why I'm here is because I got in trouble for still keeping the tobacco up instead of taking it down. So they're getting me in trouble for that. But in my defense is like, I never seen the letter that said the suspension is still continuing because I submitted an appeal date late.
That's not what we're dealing with right now. We're not dealing with what you've taken down. What we're dealing with is prospective fine and a prospective 24-day cessation of selling product, not what happened in the past, correct?
Supervisor Flores, through the chair, that's correct.
Okay, do you understand that?
So
We're
I'm not
dealing with-
going, so
we're
right now,
dealing with
I'm-
the, excuse me, we're dealing with a prospective fine moving forward of $500 and a prospective suspension moving forward of 24 days. By the way, which has been lowered, which has been lenient, given what you said, what you did on your own accord to take down advertising and product.
Yeah, the first time when I got that letter, I didn't know I wasn't supposed to take anything down because I submitted an appeal.
Yeah, but they
And
didn't
then
tell you,
when
they
I
didn't tell you
went-
to take that down. You did that on your own volition.
Because look, I'm a young business owner. I don't know what I'm supposed to do, what I'm not
Got it.
supposed
No,
to
I
do.
understand, and that's, I'm
So
trying
when
to.
you get a suspension letter, I'm gonna take everything, I'm gonna listen and I'm gonna take everything down. And then when I get there, they're telling me you didn't have to.
Yeah, so, true, you're right. So you understand it. So this is about a future sanction. The board has yet to decide. You're in my district. They're being lenient. They have a reduction in days. You know, this tobacco ordinance is over a 5-year period. One sanction, one violation, 2 violation, 3 violation, 4. I'm going to bifurcate this because we're dealing with 2 and 2. But you got 2 in 6 months, not 2 in 5 years. So 2 in 5 years calls for sanction. You're actually being treated very leniently. But our process is you're entitled to an appeal. You can come forward. I understand you want to protect your business. I have an obligation to protect the public health of my community. So I'm coming at it from a different angle. You have violated twice within a 6-month period. Not 5 years, not 3, not 4, 6 months. That's serious. We can't verbally ask this. They're not teaching verbal ask. I know you're trying to do a good job. You have new systems in place. I believe you're trying to do the right thing. But I have an ordinance here that I have to enforce. Otherwise, the ordinance is meaningless. Okay? And the fact that you're coming in with a prospective 2 more violations on a future site, that doesn't look good. The optics don't look good.
No, of course, like,
Okay? So I'm going to sustain staff's recommendation to deny the appeal. I think we've treated you very leniently from 30 days to 24. But if we keep going at it, I'm going to ask for 30 days.
I know, but it's not like I didn't take anything down.
I know, and I believe you.
Like, I'm trying
I
to
know-
work, I'm trying to work with you guys,
I
not
know
against
you
you
are.
guys,
I can see the sincerity. So let's do this. Let's agree. You're going to do a better job. We're going to do a good job. I believe that your new technology and new systems in place will help in the future. But I'm going to recommend that we sustain the denial of the appeal.
Okay, but there's no type of programs that I could probably sign
Maybe,
up for to help clean it up quicker?
Maybe. I'll let you two talk. Maybe she can help direct you. Yeah.
Okay, but in terms of like the other business she's talking about, am I good on that one or am I still going through suspension? That's what I don't get right now. From
I'll
what she said.
let Brent answer that.
Supervisor Flores, through the chair, he will still receive his notice of hearing. We will follow the same process as we did with this business, where he has submitted an appeal with the clerk of the board. So he will be given a hearing for Smoke Bros, where he can come and also give you his testimony and ask your board to consider a different penalty or violation, or to have it waived completely.
Sure, but that's not before us today.
That is not before you today.
Okay.
Okay, but like I don't even need that other appeal anymore. Like I already went through the suspension. I took everything down like they asked me to. Like the only reason the
Sure, but that
the
will be
city
your
came and
choice.
checked my store for
Yeah,
tobacco.
that will be your choice, whether or not you want to appeal future violations. That's up to you.
I know, but it's like what I'm trying to say is that cities came, they checked my store. There's no tobacco. So why am I still going through, having to go through, like, do you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah,
like,
I do.
They already came and checked for tobacco. There was no tobacco on site. You get it? The only reason why I'm here trying to fight this case is because I'm not trying to get in trouble for getting told to take off tobacco, them coming and seeing the tobacco still on there. You get that? So it's like, that other store, I already took everything down for
No,
the
I
whole
know, I know.
suspension period.
You're
I
trying
already
very
went through
hard.
it.
I can see that you're trying very hard. But the bottom line is you're selling to minors. Okay, so that's the bottom line. And we can't do that. So
I understand. I deeply understand that, and I know that's why the whole vape ban and everything is coming along. Is because kids are again having access to it. But it's like, my point is right now is that I'm not trying to fight the others. Like in my opinion, well, from my case, I think I already finished the first store. Like I'm only going through a second one, but you guys are telling me that I still have to go through a whole nother suspension.
okay, well, I want to stick to the matter at hand. The matter at hand today is for 2 violations at 1 store. That's all I want to talk about. I don't want to confuse the issue. What's before us today is 2 violations at 1 store, 1 site. Prospective 24-day suspension, $500 fine. That's the only thing before us right now.
Okay, cool.
And the item is to grant your appeal or sustain staff's recommendation to deny. My motion is to sustain staff's recommendation to deny, and we can come back at a future date. Should you choose to appeal in the future, that's up to you. I'll handle that at another date. Right now, this board has been working late. It's 12:30. I have session. I want to handle the matter at hand. The matter at hand is 1 item, 2 violations. So my motion is sustain denial of the appeal.
I'm going to give you some free advice. It's the other store that you've taken everything down for longer than 30 days, right?
Yes,
And you can, I mean, the city has come in and checked on you. You're in the city limits?
yeah, the city has already, they came to both my stores and checked
okay.
both stores at the same time.
But you can, what I want you to come back, you're going to go through another appeal. So I'm suggesting that you bring in evidence and proof that the city's been in there, that everything's been taken down. So when you come back for your other appeal, you're going to be able to say, I've already not taken this stuff down and I haven't had it and sold it for the last 30 days.
Okay, I'm sorry.
Do you understand what I'm telling you?
Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But
Okay.
one thing just to add on top of that, the lady that came and checked my store, she even told me we haven't received no appeal or anything from you. That's why we're even here to check the store.
I don't know why that's important or relevant. I
No,
understand.
I'm saying to like the other store.
She might not know. The person that comes into your store
Like,
might
she's
not
telling
know.
me I'm waiting for an appeal, but the other city doesn't know that there was an appeal even in place, is what I'm trying to say. But, all right. I'm cool.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I made a motion.
Flores made a motion.
Okay, I'll second the motion.
Okay, thank you.
Please cast your votes.
The motion is approved, 3 ayes, 1 absent. Supervisor Peters.
Please understand what I'm trying to tell you. If you come back in for your other appeal on your other store, please be able to demonstrate that you have not sold tobacco products during the amount of time that they wanted to give you a suspension anyway. See what you understand what I'm trying to tell you? Okay, thank you. All right, that takes us to the afternoon. Takes us to the end of the morning agenda. I just need a motion to adjourn to closed session.
Motion to adjourn.
Without objection, we're adjourned. Thanks.